Hey, what's up, guys? Hartman here, and we're back. We've been doing a little draft, and we did a FFPC about a earlier this week on Candyman's channel. I think last time I streamed on my channel was Saturday, so back for the home stretch. We got some news today. The main news today was obviously the Josh Jacobs incident. So the big news with Josh Jacobs, he officially got charged. We saw two misdemeanors. He got charged with battery. Got charged with battery and destruction of property, I believe, two misdemeanors. So we saw that. We saw the actual court filings. I believe his court date is set for November 17th. But odds are with that, I would say with the court date thing, I'm not overly worried. Odds are his lawyers will probably push it back if he doesn't get a suspension before then. Um, I would say with all the legal stuff, there's been some kind of mixed reporting on it. It seems like there is some video footage from the incident, but it's unclear if there's actual video footage of the actual like battery or assault or whatever it may have been taking place. So I've seen some people reporting that, oh, there's video of the assault taking place or whatever. That doesn't seem to be the case after people looked into it further. It seems like it's unclear what the video footage is, if it actually shows that or if it just shows the events surrounding that, like him outside of the garage, because the garage is where the incident actually took place. So I think right now we're in kind of a murky spot with Jacobs. I would say in best ball drafts right now, I would personally buy a dip if he fell into the fifth, sixth round. I will I will probably pick Marshawn Lloyd a little bit ahead of ADP in any drafts I get in, but I'm not gonna go crazy way reaching on Marshawn Lloyd or anything. Um, so I'm not gonna overreact to it too much. It seems like we're kind of in a similar spot, but I'll be looking if there's any overreaction. I haven't done any drafts really today. I just got home from work a little bit ago, so I haven't really done any drafts. I'm kind of interested to see if we do see much of an ADP shift, or does Jacob stay in roughly the same spot on the draft board. So I definitely want to see that, and we're probably gonna hop right into some drafts. Start it off. But yeah, the Jacobs thing was the biggest news. Other big news, I think the other biggest thing to me that I'm definitely going to keep a very close eye on is Pacheco picked up a back injury today, in addition to his MCL injury that he was dealing with, or it got announced he has a back injury. So I'm very interested to see who the Lions sign. Obviously, they brought in Kareem Hunt for a workout the other day. So very interested to see who they sign, see any cuts that come up. Trey Benson obviously just got cut. Tyrone Tracy, there's been quite a few rumors that he could be cut. So just, I think some interesting developments there, especially seeing if another viable running back goes to that Detroit spot. I think that could be a huge win for a running back if they land in that RB2 role, because I think Pacheco's very weak competition. Um, let's say what's up to the chat real quick, and then we'll probably start off with a puppy today, and then I'd be open to field general or BBM or puppy. So we'll probably do a puppy first, and then I'll have like a poll vote or something for what we do next. But yeah, let's say what's up to the chat quick, and then we'll hop into some drafts. And I think that was kind of it for the big news today. Nothing else too major, I don't think, that we saw today. Um, we got game time here, smashing that like. Hey, appreciate it. Hey, and smash the like if you just got in. But appreciate it, game time. Thanks for stopping by, bro. Lloyd to the moon. I do agree. Lloyd should move up. Lloyd should probably move up off this, and we probably will see reaches on him. I'm not going to go too crazy, but I probably would consider him a little bit higher tiered, like today, with a little extra ambiguity around Jacobs. And the possibility, we don't really know if the video shows the incident or not. It's very murky. So definitely want to keep a close eye on that, and definitely with some more ambiguity around the situation, Lloyd should move up some for sure. Uh, Jack Dog, what's up, Jack Dog? Stop by, bro. If video comes out showing Jacobs assaulting a woman, he will be released and never play again. I agree. I do agree with that. I think it's just very murky on what the video actually shows, if it actually shows the assault or not. But I do agree. If it comes out like that, there's a good chance that they do cut him. Or even if they don't cut him, he gets put on a commissioner exempt list or whatever, and like doesn't even get like a real suspension. He doesn't play this year. I do agree with that. I think the risk on him is very high right now. So I don't know. Maybe I do want to see a little bit more of a discount than I was initially saying. I think in like the puppy or something, I would probably buy like fifth round Jacobs, maybe into the sixth. I would let him fall. In BBM, maybe I'll be a little bit more cautious, but I will kind of want to see the price. Oh, let's see who aims in here. What's up, who aims? Thanks for stopping by. Jacobs is clearly in the sixth now. Just got him at 67. Okay, okay. So he's in the sixth. I I think I would probably buy in the sixth, to be honest. I think that there's a really good chance, honestly, that nothing happens. His court date's set for November 17th. And I think it's really murky about what the video shows. So I think I want to buy the dip. You know, it's that thing where we're trying to win a giant tournament, right? And especially with the puppy where it like just dropped. Well, I guess BBM would actually even be a better one to kind of buy the dip since it's been open so long. But I think that the ADP value could be significant enough that it's worth buying into them. And especially seeing the charges go down to misdemeanors, it makes me see. And this is where I haven't really seen a ton of legal updates because it seems like the situation is so murky. Like, does that make it more or less likely that he gets charged before the court date since they have a court date now? I think it's definitely like we're in the early stages of getting all this info. So it's very murky, but I think like sixth round Jacobs, that could be enough. That's enough where I'm probably willing to risk like burning some money, setting some money on fire. If it was my home league, I'd probably avoid him right now. But for this, I think I would be pretty interested. Sean Tucker, the Lions to be lit. Oh, yeah. And that's actually a good one, too. Sean Tucker, we've seen a lot of beat reports lately that sounds like he might get released. So I've actually been picking quite a bit more Bucky. I was already right around field on Bucky, but I'm going to be picking him a little bit more. I think favoring him over like the Quinshawn, maybe over like Tootin, picking him earlier in the fifth. So I will be picking more Bucky. I think, you know, the Sean Tucker rumors, I've been seeing more and more smoke that he might be a cap casualty. They owe him about over 3 million this year, and they saved that by cutting him. So I think there's a good chance he gets cut, especially with all the latest beat reports. I think that is a pretty nice upgrade for Bucky and Gainwell. So that makes me a little bit more bullish on both of them. Goofy guy, Phil the Mastiff. Hey, not for me. I don't quite have Mastiff money. You know, the other day we got in Big Gorilla with Candyman. I will do a couple more Big Gorillas on stream before the season starts, but the Mastiff $1,000 draft, not quite in my tax bracket yet, unfortunately. If there was a video that showed something, he would have been in jail a long time ago. That's kind of what I think too, because it took them a long time to put this case together, and it was a security camera, right? So like, okay, like I obviously don't know. I haven't seen anything more than like most people have probably seen on Twitter or whatnot. I would imagine with a security camera, it's probably recording like the outside of the garage. And they said that, like, if you actually read the report, like, because I read the little police report and all that, like, if you read the thing, it says that the surveillance footage, I could find it real quick, but basically, it said that the surveillance footage corroborated her story, like, it helped support her story, but it didn't necessarily say that the actual assault was on footage. It was more like it was talking about him going out of the garage into the garage, coming back with her cell phone, the cell phone appearing damaged. It was more like it corroborated all that, which would make you think that the camera was outside. And it makes sense if it was a security camera that it would be, at least to me, like when I think about security cameras. But I I do agree if there's a video and the video comes out, I mean, he's done. He's done at least for this year and probably for his career. He's older. So I do totally agree with that. But and the prosecutor said they had video. They have a video, but it doesn't say like if you because like we could show it real quick. I don't want to read the whole thing because this is kind of like it's only 2 pages, but it is yeah, so okay. Yeah, Van Lanen's report contains a description of content of the video footage recovered from the surveillance system, specifically surveillance footage from the camera system within the garage. Okay, within the garage of Train Trail residents from May 23rd, 2026, 2830 corroborates the relevant portions of A&M statement that one would expect to have seen on video, including both A&M and Jacobs departing the residence in their respective vehicles and returning to the residence, as well as the altercation A&M described as taking place in the garage. Okay, so it, it says as well as the altercation. Yeah, I mean, the surveillance video shows Jacobs took her phone while she was on the floor of the garage, and approximately 40 seconds later, Jacobs returns to the garage and appears to damage A&M's phone. See, that's what confused me. Is it like he returns to the garage? As expected, the surveillance video does not depict any portion of the incident that is alleged to have occurred inside the residence. But see, like when I was seeing it based on like if we look at like Drew Davenport, uh like he's one of the big, he's like the big legal guy, right? So yeah, it's see, I'm having trouble deciphering what is on video. I'm not certain Matt's recitation is correct. To be clear, he may be right, but the report is written gives me pause as to what is on video, working to clarify. So yeah, see, that's what's confusing me is because it's not super clear. And then this is what he said, like it's confusing surveillance footage from camera system within the garage. And then he said, "This is where I'm at, John." And Drew Davenport's like a big legal guy. He does a lot of good write-ups on like any of the legal issues for NFL players. Not saying he's always right or anything. And it's hard when we don't have all the info. No one has all the info, right? That isn't like actually part of the case. But like here's where he thinks it is right now. The report is poorly written, contextualized. The complaint says the video corroborates the garage altercation. My point is narrower. It does not say if the video actually depicts Jacob throwing her on the ground or causing the head injury. And it does seem odd that they had to take like months getting the info and stuff if it would have just showed an assault and then his charges would get lowered this much. I guess at least to me. So that's what's giving me like some pause, I guess, about it. But I definitely agree. Like it's very murky. And like if I like again, if I was doing my home league, I would probably be avoiding Jacobs. But for some of these best ball entries, I think I'm gonna be willing to torch some money getting him if he's cheap enough, to be honest. Um Agreed, he is done if there's that kind of video. Totally agree. I think Jacobs is toast. He definitely could be Boofy guy. He definitely could be. I think if you want to full on avoid him and move up Marshawn Lloyd a bunch, I'm not going to say that that's a bad idea or a bad move in any sense. That is just probably not what I'm going to do. I could see picking more Lloyd, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to be the guy reaching multiple rounds on Marshawn Lloyd, pulling up crazy like top 100 or anything right now. I'm gonna play it more trying to get the Jacobs fall, if anything. Not gonna take many shares here, but I'll take a few shares. Yeah, I agree. Like if he keeps falling into the sixth, I'm not gonna get like crazy and get like 20%, but I'll get a couple shares. Fade alert, potentially, yeah. Depends how late he falls though, because if he plays, he's already kind of a value with his role in that offense. But maybe that's debatable if you think Marshawn Lloyd could actually take a decent chunk of the work regardless. Like maybe Marshawn Lloyd is ready to step up and actually take some of that work. So maybe Jacobs is more like fairly priced in the fourth round if there was no legal issues. But if we get him in the sixth round, that gets to a range where I think like running backs on the board in the sixth round really fall off a cliff. So he would represent a pretty significant value if he does play the majority of the season that late. Any big football news today? Hey, no, not really, Jeff. Not really. No, we were talking about the Jacob stuff. Obviously, it was in the title. I think too. I think I put it in the title. But nah, I mean that was pretty much it. Other than that, sounds like Sean Tucker might get cut. Tyrone Tracy could get cut. That one seems like more speculation though. The Sean Tucker one, I've seen a couple different things that he might get cut, and I saw like Zane Donati was posting on it. Obviously, following Zane Donati for a lot of it. Lots of non-football news. That's true. So destruction of property. Yeah, that was one of the charges. He got destruction of property and battery. Tron Force 8199. Hey, what's up, Tron Force? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Auction yesterday, 12 team PPR, Lamar Barkley, K9, Garrett Wilson, Ted McMillan, Juwan Johnson, Josh Jacobs, Marvin Tate, Mahomes, Kamara, Cyrus Allen, Emmett Johnson, Sharps on IR. That's pretty solid. I mean, you got an elite QB. Probably didn't even need Mahomes, but I mean, that's fine. Hopefully, you got him pretty cheap. But Lamar's nice as an elite. Barkley K9, nice one too. Garrett Ted, that's a solid one too at receiver. Josh Jacobs is good if he's not suspended. I like Marvin Tate as a third and fourth. Yeah, no, I think that's solid. I think you're solid. You punted tight end a little bit, but that's fine. I like Juwan. He's a good value. Any suggestions to improve? If you only need one flex, I mean, not especially. I mean, you have a lot of young receivers that kind of have upside. I kind of like where they go. Um, I mean, yeah, not especially really. I think you did pretty good. And I think you're pretty balanced. I mean, I guess if you only have to start one of Marvin or Tate, you could try to trade one of them and upgrade at like tight end, but I probably wouldn't really mess with it because I feel like a lot of your guys are kind of younger guys who are maybe like a little bit underrated, especially like Marvin and Tate. It would kind of be more like if Marvin or Tate got off to a hot start, you might try to like spin them up into something more established, I would say. Like that would be more my idea, but I think where it stands right now, I kind of like your little bit lower value guys. I think your high value guys like fit into your lineup nice, like Barkley, K9, Garrett, Tet. So I probably just stand pat. You know, if you really want to move off Jacobs because you're worried, you could, but you're probably just not going to get good value for him right now. In other news, nice background, Harmon. Hey, appreciate it, Jeff. We changed it back to this one just for you. I had it on the sleeper background for the Iron Throne League, but we had to change it back to the old school one for money anything. Jeff T. Jacob scored me nothing in Week 17 finals last year. Now he's assaulting women. Allegedly, my last 1% feels good. And I respect that game tight. He did suck last year in the finals. He got I think less than 1 point, right? So like literally less than a point. So that's fair. And yeah, you want to fade him for that? I think that's a pretty fair case. Um, yeah, no, that's a fair point, game tight. That's a fair point. Detroit Shrooms, let's have Detroit Shrooms. Thanks for stopping by, bro. Best case scenario, he gets charged by NFL after season starts and he gets 6 to 8 game suspension next season. Worst case, he's removed from the NFL. Right. And I think that's where we're at is does he get suspended this year and next year? Right. That's the real like thing in fantasy, right? Because if it gets pushed till next year, which obviously I'm sure the team will want, because it's like, sure, Marshawn Lloyd's healthy right now, but he's also not a proven asset. Marshawn Lloyd has 6 NFL carries in his life. So, like, obviously the team probably wants Jacobs there week 1. And if they can push it to next year, I'm sure they would want to. So, we'll see if they're able to. The court date is later in the year, so they might be able to. Thrown force with 2 misdemeanors if suspended this year prior to having his day in court, only a 1 or 3 day suspension max. Oh no, he's getting 6 at least. If they suspend him for this, I think he's getting 6 if they give him because if you look at like the NFL, the new NFL like NFLPA bargaining agreement for suspensions, I don't know if it's the NFLPA one, but the terms for suspension say any kind of assault is 6 games minimum on first offense in the NFL. That's their new rule. I will say Goodell, you know, he kind of has the power to do what he wants, but that is what they say is like the new ruling. Sounds like destruction of battery. It was destruction of a battery. He destroyed a phone and a battery was in there. So that is true. That is true. Damn, Skyler looks awesome tonight. Oh yeah, Skyler Bell. I saw he had like 75 yards like pretty early in the game. He do anything else? I saw Jeremy got a rushing touch. It wasn't even really a rushing touchdown. It was a screen pass. It said it was rushing, but it was a screen pass touchdown. But Jeremy was looking pretty nice. You know, I saw some people being negative that he was playing in the preseason game, but I mean, he's a rookie. He's got to make his way. Oh, Skyler Bell had a run for 28 yards too. I'm looking at his stats real quick. Skyler Bell run for 28 and then 7 catches for 49. He's looking pretty nice. Damn, Frank Gore Jr. 5 for 45 receiving and 10 for 27 with a tutty rushing. Frank Gore Jr. making a case. Hell yeah, you love to see it. But no, Skyler Bell does look pretty good though. I was watching a little bit of that on my way home. Or right after I got home, I mean. And I saw the Raiders played the starters too. That was kind of weird. I was kind of surprised by that. If there was no legal issue, Jacobs would go around the 2-3 turn. Oh, totally agree. Totally agree with that. I mean, that's where he was going early in the summer. That's where he was going most of the time. It just, yeah, like once the legal issue happened, he fell closer to the 4th. He fell to like the 4-5 turn for a little bit. And then he kind of settled more in that mid 4th. He was moving up a little, actually, I feel like recently, especially getting healthy from that injury. But then with this coming out, obviously he'll fall back again. But yeah, he was a 2-3 turn pick, like all the pre-draft and all that. Funniest thing about this is OSU, Missy, and Quill both maybe draft Jacobs. That is pretty funny. I guess they just don't, yeah, they just don't mess with that, I guess. But or what do you mean? They told you to draft him or they passed on him? They don't play with domestic. Yeah, no, that's true. It's basically like, do they charge him or are they still getting info and waiting for like the court to settle it, right? Because sometimes the NFL kind of moves fast and they suspend them on kind of their own like research or their own like independent investigation or whatever they call it. But then sometimes they wait for the court case. So it's very interesting to see how they're going to handle it in that sense. Bell to the moon. Yeah, no, I do kind of agree. Bell to the moon. Did he just do something? I mean, I know he's fully healthy now. He's like pretty much good to go. Not fully healthy, but like he got cleared for everything. Oh, because Tutu is gone, I guess. Yeah, I mean that's fair. I think I mean Chris Bell definitely seems like a really nice dart throw right now for sure. I totally agree with you there. I've been picking him more ever since basically they said he was going to get activated, like, in the last week or whatever, last couple days. I've been trying to pick him quite a bit, especially since he hasn't really moved up a ton. And I've been getting more Caleb Douglas too, though, because Caleb Douglas has kind of fallen back with Bell getting activated. So I've been getting me some more, even more Caleb Douglas. Um, blah, Oh, Ray Davis 0, everything in a fumble. Yeah, no, Ray Davis didn't look so hot. Ray Davis didn't look so hot. They told me to back when he was in round 3 before this. Back when he was in round 3 Oh, gotcha. They were hyping him up before, and then he had all these issues. I got you. I was gonna Olave Kamara on IR once. Olave Kamara on IR once eligible, or would you drop Kamara for Trey Tucker, Butte, or CMC's handcuff, Kalen Black? Um, let me see your receivers again. I don't. You had pretty good receivers. I mean, yeah, I don't know if Kamara helps your team a ton. I would say, I mean, if there's any chance, if Marshawn Lloyd's available, definitely drop Kamara for Marshawn Lloyd 100% since you have Jacobs. I'm sure he's probably not available, but just in case, if he is, definitely drop Kamara for him. And then I probably would drop Kamara for Kalen Black. I think Trey Tucker's a pretty good dart throw, but your receivers are like decently deep. So I mean, like Trey Tucker would be fine for a week 1 play, and then Kalen Black might still be available. So like you could pick up Trey Tucker, see if he has a decent role week 1, and then if he's not super involved, if it really does just kind of funnel to like Bowers and Genty, I guess we'll have to see if Genty's playing or not. But I'd probably drop him for like Kalen Black just in case CMC gets hurt, because I don't think Kamara is going to do much for you, especially early. Um, so I think it'd be reasonable to drop him, but you don't have to. But it would be reasonable. He got a TD on that run. Who Ray Davis or Skylar Bell? Yeah. Skylar Bell looked pretty good. The NFL has never not waited, but they specifically said they can do it before legal process plays out with Jacobs also. And wrong Bell, Skylar, but both honestly. Oh, Skylar Bell to the moon. Oh, right. Because he was cooking tonight. I got you. My bad. When I saw Bell, I haven't really been picking Skylar Bell, so I was immediately go, oh yeah, Chris Bell. I've been hammering him. But yeah, Skylar Bell looks pretty good. So that is fair. That was a good point. And hey, Skylar Bell has actually really good college production, right? He has better production than most of these guys. So yeah, I mean, hey, he might cook. He fits the Bills receiver archetype pretty well. Tucker Black looks good tonight too. Yeah, and I think like Kalen Black it's like Trey Tucker is that thing. What do you win when you win, right? Because Brock Bowers is receiver 1. They're probably going to be decently run heavy as long as Genty's reasonably healthy or healthy reasonably early. The Raiders are probably going to be pretty run heavy, play off the play action a lot, just like Seattle did. And Bowers is going to really dominate target share. I will say Tucker seems like the pretty clear wide receiver one on Vegas for me, or to me, like he's definitely a target for me in these drafts. Trey Tucker, that is, in the best ball drafts. But I just don't know if he does much for your team since you're already starting like receivers in your flex and all that too. Like you had like 2 good young receivers, and then you had you have a lot of good young receivers actually. All your receivers are young. But yeah, I think Kalen Black just gives you more of an upside swing than like Trey Tucker does, given your team composition. So I'd maybe drop Kamara for Kalen Black. If you want to hold on Kamara, though, I think that's also reasonable. But all right, I think we caught up with the, at least the initial stuff. So, covered it as much as we could. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice. But I tried researching the Jacobs stuff as much as I could. I mean, obviously, I care for my own bags and drafts too. So it's like I'm trying to find any little news edge as well. But all right, with all that said, let's get into a draft. We're gonna hop into the puppy 4 first. We'll count it down. We're gonna hop in the puppy 4 in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're in, waiting on 8. So if anyone wants to hop in the puppy, well, the waters are warm. Welcome all. Let's see, Enchambird. Hey, what's up, Enchambird? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Sean Tucker to Green Bay. Chris Brooks to the moon. I don't know if it's Chris Brooks to the moon, brother. I mean, Chris Brooks gets into the draftable range, though. I would say like you can definitely draft Chris Brooks now. I think Marshawn Lloyd will take the primary rushing role if Jacobs is missing time. And Green Bay will obviously bring in someone, but Sean Tucker, that would be a good shout. Like if Sean Tucker went to Green Bay, I mean, that'd be very interesting if he went to Green Bay, actually. I don't know if I'd prefer him or Lloyd. I'm kind of a Sean Tucker, like I think Sean Tucker is actually decently talented. I mean, you see when he gets the main role in Tampa Bay, he's always like crushed, right? So I don't know. I probably would lean Sean Tucker, and especially with like obviously Marshawn Lloyd's injury history. And like I said, he's only had 6 NFL carries in his life. So in the regular season. So, Marshawn Lloyd, not the most reliable guy, obviously. Um, yeah, Sean Tucker would be a pretty sweet one. I would actually definitely be buying in on Sean Tucker if he went there. Who aims Emmanuel Wilson gets cut and ends up starting in Green Bay again. That would be the funniest outcome. That would be the funniest. I will say, I do think that Marshawn Lloyd has real upside. I mean, I've lost plenty of money on Marshawn Lloyd, the last 2 years of his career. Last year, I would say not as much as like the rookie year, but I've lost plenty of money on Marshawn Lloyd. I do think he could be good at football in theory. He's theoretically good at football. He's theoretically big and fast when healthy. So I don't know. I really do believe in Marshawn Lloyd if he had that role, especially if it was like Emmanuel Wilson. But Sean Tucker, I do think has talent too. So that would be kind of an interesting split. They might be like a true like committee. But Green Bay rushing attack, I think if you can get pieces going like past 100, even if they were splitting, then that feels like a good bet. If Jacobs were to like go on commissioner's exempt or something like that. But Williams made a good point too earlier. The NFL does not generally they do not generally try to suspend the guy until the legal stuff happens, unless they kind of are forced, right? Is in like the videos coming out, right? Like we saw it with Kareem Hunt, we saw it with Ray Rice, where videos came out and then the NFL acted immediately because the videos out and the public perception of it was really bad. Obviously, I mean the videos were bad, but like the public perception, kind of forced them into like making a quick decision. All right, here, Amon-Ra, Johnny Taylor. I like both. We'll go Amon-Ra. That's fine. He has the higher ADP. I don't really have a strong preference between Amon-Ra and JT. As you can see, I'm pretty even on both. I think this is my entire portfolio that I have selected. Oh no, this is just BBMs. So let me I'm gonna update my overlay and then get it all right. I'm gonna do it for all of post draft. That way my exposures are right for that. I don't know. I've been kind of a flat exposure merchant, to be honest. It's a little disappointing. I make like no stands, so a little disappointing in that sense that I don't know. I don't really have that many big stands. Like I think my highest owned player is Stephon Diggs. We could actually look really quick while we're waiting for that to go. Um, my 2026 season, it's like I'm just like super flat here, like 370 teams, so a decent amount of teams. We got Katron Allen at 21.9, but that's been dropping. Aaron Rodgers at 19, Diggs at 18. That was at like 25% before, but it's just been dropping with him going so high. Dalton Schultz at 18, Brenton Strange at almost 18. Lad McConkey, I've been hammering Lad McConkey. I don't know why. I just feel like he's going to be in that like Tyreek motion role. I just feel like Lad McConkey, and especially that report too, where he was like dealing with those injuries last year. I don't know. I just have a feeling Lad McConkey is just going to smash. And I don't know. I've been super buying in on him lately, and Herbert too. I've been picking a ton of Lad and Herbert lately. Ken Walker, I've been high on him the whole time, at close to 16% on him. Pittman 15.7, Marvin Harrison 15.7. Brian Robinson, I think, is a good value, and he's been falling. Pat Fryermuth is good, but like as you can see, my exposures are just like pretty flat, like it's already down to like 14, 13.8. So I don't know. I mean, the thing is, portfolios don't win you anything, teams do. So it's like it doesn't matter if my portfolio doesn't need to have crazy stands in it or anything, as long as I'm drafting good structural teams. But I don't know. It is one of those things where it's tough. Like it's like you want to get your guys, but best ball is such a weird game where like it's just so weird where it's that pod based format, right? Let me make a pick here. Uh We get Hampton. Let's get Hampton. Like I said, I've been picking a little bit more Chargers, mostly Lad. I've been really hammering Hampton. I'm gonna have like a round field. I think he's fine where he goes. I was debating A Chain over him. I'm not a big A Chain guy though. I just really am kind of like a Dolphins hater. So we'll go Hampton there. A Chain's also the same buy as St. Brown, which I don't love. Not a huge tiebreaker, but it'll lean me towards Hampton this time. I definitely prefer Derrick Henry or Ken Walker or Saquon, obviously. Would have preferred any of those three to Hampton, A Chain, or Genty right now. I was kind of thinking about Genty, but I don't know. I'm already overweight on Genty for my like overall season, so not really wanting to buy him with the ambiguous ankle injury unless I can get a little bit of a value. Especially in this tournament, we're in the puppy right now, so it's like in the puppy, he's always gone in the second round, so you're not even really getting like unique combos or anything. So I'm not like super buying him in this tournament right now. Just because I'm already overweight, and we haven't really got a ton more info. We'll get Hampton there. You know, I think Hampton's a totally reasonable pick, and I think it's a great offense I want to buy into. I would say I'm a tiny bit worried about his overall workload and will he really dominate, but I think the thing is he's going to be the goal line back. He's the big body hammer guy, right? Maybe he's not the exact perfect fit for McDaniel's scheme of like outside zone, but if he's the guy on the goal line and they're as good of an offense as we hope, then it doesn't really matter because he can easily in the teens for touchdowns and it wouldn't be crazy. He could even push closer to 20. So I think Hampton's a totally fine pick. I'm right around field on him. Like I was saying, I would prefer Derrick Henry, or I'm still buying Ken Walker even with the ankle soreness. But Hampton, I think right there makes total sense. So I'll be getting him there. Tucker's my most owned player in the limb. LOL. Don't love that. Tucker is my Trey Tucker. I think Trey Tucker is a great player to have as your most owned in a limb. Why don't you love that, Enchant Birds? I think Trey Tucker was a great pick. I think he should be moving up, or if anything. We saw that he is pretty clearly ahead of Jalen Naylor, in my opinion, with the recent like preseason usage and all that. So I I would feel pretty good with the Trey Tucker. Unless you meant like Tucker Craft. Uh I mean, I prefer Brees Hall straight up to Kyron Williams. So we'll go Brees Hall. Yeah, let's go Brees Hall. I think Kyron Williams he's an okay pick. As you can see, I have very low exposure to Kyron Williams, 2.6%. I'm pretty low on him, decently low on Javante, pretty low on Emeka as well. So I'm definitely picking Brees Hall over them. I think Javante is a fine pick. You know, he just plays on a great offense. He needs the touchdowns to keep rolling. But with his backups looking terrible, they probably will. He probably will kind of dominate workload. Kyron feels like a guy to me who is either going to be a small win or a small loss, like he usually is. I do think that his downside is slightly increased though, with Cora maybe taking a little bit more. I think the only way Kyron really smashes me is he gets somewhere in that like 15, 16, 17 touchdowns if their defense is so dominant and he really crushes. But I just don't see him. I see Kyron, if anything, getting less overall workload, and he's not a he's not an explosive running back. He's like okay efficiency wise, like success rate wise, but he's not like explosive or anything like that. He's not a big play guy. I think Corum, if anything, cuts in a little bit more this year. So I'm not really picking a ton of Kyron. He's one of my bigger fades. I think he's a fine pick, but I don't know. I just worry Corum takes even more. And obviously in the red zone, they have a great passing attack. You know, they could lean more towards the rush this year, but they do have one of the premier passing weapons in Devontae Adams, one of the best red zone receivers in NFL history, realistically. Devontae Adams is. I think Emeka on a little bit of a fall. See, and this is why my exposure stays so flat, right? I have 2% of this guy. I thought he was going too high. He has turf toe. Let's take Tet McMillan over him instead. Oops. Let's take Tetaroa McMillan. Ooh, or I could grab Luther Burden. Okay, we got Tet. That's fine. Tetaroa McMillan. I'm pretty happy with that. Emeka, he's fallen. He has turf toe. That might kind of be a fallen knife. I thought he was overpriced as is. I'm probably Tetaroa McMillan over him in a vacuum, and Garrett Wilson over him. I went away from Garrett Wilson because I didn't want to double up on the Jets. I like Garrett and I like Brees Hall, but I don't necessarily want to pick two Jets on the same team. That doesn't ever feel very good to me. So I'm happier going with Tetaroa McMillan. I would have switched it to Burden because I am really getting more Burden. You know, he was back at practice lately. Yesterday he got back at practice and today he was at practice. So I'm picking a little bit more burden. I'm buying in on him, buying in on kind of that Bears offense a little bit more towards the end. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, we go Tat McMillan over Egbuka. They say Egbuka is going to be ready week 1, but the problem with those like foot or toe issues is they can really linger and decrease performance, right? Like Emeka, he didn't miss much time last year. He played through that hamstring injury, but he played very poorly, right? Especially in the second half of the year. And you could argue the whole offense had a lot of issues and injuries, but Emeka was also like his catch rate went way down. He just like I don't know, like all of his metrics also went down, right? So did the whole offense, so did Baker, but Emeka also was playing worse down the stretch with that injury. And if he's already coming in with this injury, I think especially the toe and foot injuries really worry me on receivers. So I don't know, in the 4th round, I will probably grab some Emeka, but I'm not gonna like even there, I decided not to get my exposure up. I decided to go down. This guy hasn't heard the news. Here to win. He is not here to win today. Josh Jacobs at 45. He has not read the news. He's going to be in shambles when he sees his RB1 is going to prison and not in the NFL anymore. Uh, no, maybe not quite that bad, but yeah, no discount on Jacobs in this lobby. I have lots of stands now. Hey, I respect that. I respect that. Who aims? I'm going all in on Lad, Waddle, Zay in round 3 at this point. All right, that's fair. Waddle in round 3. I mean, that's definitely a stand for sure. Lad and Zay, if you're pulling them up to the 2-3, then yeah, that like for sure. I would say like once you're past like let me make this pick real quick. Devontae I'd be cool with Devontae if I get him. I do kind of want more Christian Watson though, too. Let's go Christian Watson. I want more Christian Watson. I really like him. I really think he could have like kind of a breakout year this year. So let's get him. I mean, I don't know. To me, he is the clear alpha on that team. I know that some people think he's just like kind of the deep threat merchant who won't really be consistent, but I do really think with Dobbs and with Dobbs and Wicks gone, he could really take over as that dominant number 1 receiver. And I think he really could have a breakout year. And especially with fears around Jacobs, right? That's another thing I think that makes sense to like play into the Jacobs thing is if there's no Jacobs and they have to rely on Marshawn Lloyd with 6 career rushing attempts, then buy into the passing game more. We know LaFleur can scheme it up. LaFleur is one of the best offensive coaches in the NFL, in my opinion, and he's one of the best schemers at getting his guys open. The Packers are always near the top in average target separation for their receivers. So I just think another way to kind of play this Jacobs thing is buy into the passing attack more. I think that's a totally reasonable way to play this Jacobs thing other than just like, oh, let me reach on Lloyd or let me like pick Jacobs when he's a value. Like you can just buy into the passing attack. And, I think these guys are good prices where they go anyways. Trevion, I'm not super into Trevion. As you can see, I'm really into Marvin Harrison. I wouldn't mind Marvin Harrison here. It's not enough of a Trevion fall to really interest me. I have 2 running backs I already like up top too. So we'll just get more Marvin Harrison. He's a guy I have almost 17%. He's one of my biggest stands. I feel pretty good with it. That's the only Cardinal I'm really buying into. I'm underweight on every Cardinal not named Marvin Harrison. Trey McBride I have 3.4, Jeremiah Love 4.5, Marvin Harrison almost 17%, Michael Wilson 1%. Oh, Algier I have 12%. I will be picking less of him now that he's moved up so much, but I did like his price quite a bit. And I think even now he's an okay price, but yeah, those are the only 2 Cardinals I'm really playing it through. I don't really like the other high priced ones or Michael Wilson. So definitely buying into that Marvin Harrison 3rd-year breakout, super high-end prospect. I think he had a better rookie year too than a lot of people give him credit for. 885 and 8 touchdowns. I think that's a pretty respectable rookie year. Obviously last year dealt with a lot of injuries. I think he had a pretty respectable rookie year. He was amazing in college, and like, I don't know. I think the rookie year seemed so bad because he was supposed to be the GOAT, right? And then Malik Neighbors comes out and is like immediately one of the best receivers in the NFL. He gets drafted after Marvin Harrison, and Marvin Harrison, really disappoints for that 1-2 turn price we were paying for him as a rookie. I really think his rookie year though was pretty respectable, especially on a bad team like that with Kyler as his quarterback. And I don't know. I just really feel like he could have the 3rd-year breakout. And I feel like it's just a really good price to bet on that level of talent, in my opinion. Where Marvin Harrison goes in the 6th round with the talent that we at least think he had coming out of college. Colton 4635. Oh, so Colton, thanks, done by. Thoughts on Puka with the 104 with injury and off-field stuff still? I would say in your home league, okay, for best ball, I'm still picking him at 4 because I think the upside is still there. If Puka Nacua plays 17 games this year, I think that he is heavily the odds-on favorite to lead the league in receiving yards, and he should do better in touchdowns than he did last year, regardless if he's healthy. So I would say that he's still the 104 because his upside is so huge. But in your home league, I think it is perfectly reasonable to take JSN or Amon-Ra over him. Got some good quarterback values in here. Let's see if I got any. Dak Prescott. I don't have a Cowboy though, so I'm not interested. Let's go Rico. I love Rico. I feel like I've been picking him less now that he's kind of moved up, but I still love Rico. I still think he's a good price. I need a third running back. I think this is a really good spot to do it. I think Corum's a good pick as well, but I like Rico. I really think he's the RB1 in Pittsburgh. We can look at my Steelers exposure. They're also a team I've been very high on. So only 3% Jalen Warren, at field on DK Metcalf, but heavily overweight on Rico Dowdle, heavily overweight on Michael Pittman, heavily overweight on Rodgers, on Pat Freiermuth, on Jeremy Bernard. So definitely an offense I think is underpriced as a whole that I'm buying into. Jalen Warren, I think he's an okay pick. I just like Rico more, and Rico goes later. Rico's never really gone over him. And I think that Rico is a straight up better pick. So when he goes around later, it makes it very hard to get Jalen Warren when I feel like Rico is the better running back pick out of the two. Like if they were going at the exact same spot and it was my home league, if I had one draft, I would take Rico over Jalen Warren every time. It would be no doubt in my mind, I would go Rico over Jalen Warren if I had one draft to decide. Um, but yeah, I like Rico, and I think that that's a perfectly good spot to get my third running back. So here we'll see what Game Tight does. So because if he doesn't take Herbert, I probably will because I have Hampton. That's good enough. We can get Trey Harris or something later. I think Corum's also a pretty good pick. I would like to get more Corum. I'm right around field. I would like to get that quite a bit above field. But let's keep pounding the table on Herbert. I think Trevor Lawrence is a pretty good pick too that I'm kind of underweight on because I don't pick as much of his receivers. But let's get Herbert. We have Hampton, so we have a little game stack there, or team stack. I mean, and then we can still get Trey Harris later. We can probably pick any of the 3 tight ends if we want. So we can get a couple back stacks, and we already have them stacked up with the main running back. Hampton caught 30 something passes last year, even with the injury, right? So you could very realistically get like 50. Sorry. He could very realistically get like 50 to 60 receptions this year. We saw he had 32 last year, only 192. He was obviously getting a lot of lower A-dot swing pass stuff, but if they view him in that way and they're able to like incorporate him in the receiving game quite a bit as a rookie, even when he missed all that time too, I think, we could see him easily get up to that 50, 60 receiving number. Maybe he does run a little bit more routes or something this year too. Keep smashing Chargers. Hey, what's up? Nice and blunt. Stopping by, bro. Yeah, hell yeah. No, we're smashing the Chargers, brother. We're smashing them, especially Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey and Justin Herbert. We're double the field on them. Herbert's my second highest owned QB. Ladd's my second highest owned receiver, I think. So we're definitely smashing the Chargers. I think Hampton's a totally good pick too. I've just I've come around to the big dog being undervalued as always. And if you guys don't know, obviously you guys do, but check out Who Hames, check out Nice and Blunt if you don't know. They're streaming they stream every day. Who Hames streaming every day around 2 p.m. Pacific. Nice and Blunt usually streams a little bit later at night, but they're streaming every day. I'm sure you guys all know them, but if you don't, definitely check them out. They're always putting out great content. Sean Tucker. Oh yeah. Tucker, my most owned player in a limb. Don't love that. Honestly, it might save you if he gets cut. Yeah, Hartman always lost. I am always lost, brother. I'm 11 minutes behind. Not that bad, actually, I guess. But yeah, I do get lost pretty easy. I'm just like, I'm in my own world. The mind wanders. The mind wanders. I get on tangents. But no, honestly, with the Enchan, with the Tucker in a limb, it might kind of save you if he gets cut, especially if he gets a decent landing spot. I mean, even like bro, I think Detroit is such a good landing spot. Isaiah Pacheco sucks so bad. Like any running back can snatch his chain. Okay, what are we thinking here? So, I mean, I love Pittman, but I also love J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins is underpriced. I know people are worried about Jonah Coleman. Maybe I guess is why J.K. Dobbins is falling. I guess I'm not really sure. J.K. Dobbins, I understand he gets hurt every single year of his career, and maybe he's injury prone. I tend to just think that he's unlucky. I maybe I'm a crazy person, but I think J.K. Dobbins is just unlucky, right? He doesn't get a bunch of soft tissue injuries. I know he had a small one earlier this offseason, but the stuff that's taken him out of games, it's been big, like big injuries that are kind of unlucky, right? So, like, he broke his foot last year. He had the torn ACL and Achilles. You could argue that one kind of led to the other as a compensation injury, right? But I do think that he's just ultra unlucky with the injuries, and I think if he stays healthy, like J.K. Dobbins is just a monster efficiency wise. Like Jonah Coleman, sure, he looked great in the preseason and all that. But when J.K. Dobbins is healthy, he's been one of the most efficient rushers in the NFL basically every single season of his career. He keeps coming back from these major injuries and he's always a mega efficient rusher. Okay, I got to decide right here what I want to do. Jackson Dart, I love the Jackson Dart pick. I don't have it stacked. I could pick Goff with a Monra. I do love the Jackson Dart pick though. Man, I mean Jackson Dart's probably a better pick. Let's go Dart. Let's go Dart. I don't know if that was the right call. That was a tough spot. Goff with a Monra is always a great stack, always one you want to pair up. That was a really good value on Dart and a good value on Mahomes as well. I was kind of thinking about Mahomes. I'm already bought into that game on the Chargers side, so I don't know if I really want to get the game stack quarterbacks when I don't have any stacks with Mahomes. That was kind of my thinking there. I'm passing on him. I also honestly like if I had to do one single draft, I prefer Jackson Dart straight up to Mahomes this year as well. For fantasy football, I think the rushing just sets Jackson Dart apart. I think he's underrated for the rushing aspect, especially in 4-point passing touchdown. I think we're heavily underrating the rushing. If you look last year at like in the points per game than games that he actually started, he averaged over 20 points a game. He was an absolute monster. He had one terrible game where he had less than a point, and that really even drove down his average, and he still averaged over 20 points a game. He was just a monster, and he only played, I believe it was 18 snaps with Malik Neighbors. And then I know, and this might sound like a BS like stat, not a BS stat in the sense it's made up, but if you take out Jackson Dart's one terrible game against the Vikings, where he barely attempted any passes and they just ran the ball like crazy, he was coming off like an injury the week before, and they were really worried, I think, about the concussion or something for him. So they didn't hardly let him throw it and they didn't let him run it at all. But if you take out that Vikings game, he averaged 22 and a half points a game, which is better than Josh Allen. Shout out fantasy points for that stat. Scott Barrett, he put out that stat. But yeah, like Jackson Dart was just such a monster last year and so consistent, and he didn't even get to play with Neighbors. I just think he's such an undervalued quarterback. I love Jackson Dart this year. I want even more. Um, I love Jackson Dart. So we picked him over Mahomes. Maybe you could argue I should have taken the value, but like I said, already being into that game, not having a Chiefs piece, I went with Dart. And on stacked, I want the guy that can rush generally if I'm going on stacked. This guy took Goff, didn't have a stack. Kind of interesting to take Goff there. I don't really get that. I don't really get why you would take Goff on stacked over Mahomes on stacked personally. That doesn't make much sense to me, but I mean, Goff could easily outscore Mahomes. It's not crazy, but just value wise, like Goff at 114, you can get that like every draft. Mahomes at 114, I mean, you hardly ever see that. So yeah, kind of interesting with that one there. I would definitely prefer Travis Kelce to Isaiah Likely. It's not close. I think Isaiah Likely is a terrible pick. I'm a little bit disappointed in myself that I even have this much. These exposures actually aren't right because it says I only have 268 teams, so they're not quite right. But we're gonna go Kelce, get the game stack with my Mahomes. That feels good there. So feel good with that. Yeah, feel good with that. Sorry, I'm updating my portfolio stuff real quick. It wasn't right. It's kind of weird. Game tag goes Marshawn Lloyd at 129. I think that's totally reasonable. That's a reasonable spot because what'd you pull him up, like 20 picks? 20 picks right now is not bad. Yeah, not even 20 picks. He has an ADP 148, so about 20. Yeah, I think 20 picks is totally reasonable right now for Marshawn Lloyd. That's a reasonable pull up, like for sure. I maybe should have considered him, but I have really strong running backs already, so it wouldn't have really been the build. I think Kelsey was a really good pick for me there. So it wouldn't have been a great spot for me to go for Marshawn Lloyd anyways. But I think that was actually a really good spot to get him. Aaron Jones versus Marshawn Lloyd, pretty close. It was your fifth running back, shoot for the moon with them. I think that was a good call. So, or definitely like a really reasonable call for sure at the least. He forgot that convo already. Who I did. I'm sorry. Enchant Birds. My mind wanders. My mind wanders. But hey, we remembered it. We remembered it after you put Sean. So at least I wasn't like Sean, who's Sean? Because there was a real chance that happened too. Do we get Isaiah Likely here? Do I do it to myself? I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I should have scrolled down maybe a little bit. I should have scrolled down maybe a little bit for a different receiver that like I do kind of like Boston, but I don't know. Boston hasn't really been the flavor of the month lately. It's more been on KC Conception. I've been trying to get more Conception. I still think Boston's a pretty good pick. I should have probably reached for a receiver there though that I like. That was probably a miss by me a little bit. Um Paul Nimbus, rate my 10 team PPR pick number 4. Lamar, CMC, Chase Brown. CMC, Chase Brown, I like. Neighbors, Tet, Demont, Terry, JMO, Kelsey, Isaiah Likely. I think it's pretty solid. Yeah, I mean, it's a little harder to say with a 10 team, but I don't know. I think you have 3 elite pieces with CMC, Chase Brown, Neighbors. Tet could be an elite piece if he makes the leap. You have an elite quarterback. I like that in the 10 team. In the 10 team, I like having either an elite quarterback or an elite tight end. I think that's always smart in the thinner leagues because that's kind of how you get an edge. Because like there's probably good QBs on the waiver wire, so you kind of separate yourself getting an elite one. So I like the Lamar on that team. I think solid. I like your top 2 running backs a lot. I like Neighbors a lot, Ted a lot. So, and I think Monty, Terry, JMO, those are pretty good values there. Kelsey's a pretty good tight end one. I'm not a big Isaiah Likely guy. I'm not a fan of him, but I think Kelsey's pretty good. So, pretty solid team overall. He's vibing, leave him alone. I really am vibing right now. I am vibing right now. I have Josh Jacobs bags and I'm worried about him. That's the truth of the matter. I have Josh Jacobs bags that I'm worried about. So we're just vibing right now. We got I'll look at that in 1 second, forensic man. Let me make this pick. Okay, did the receiver go that I wanted? Damn it, Ensup, you son of a bitch. You took Trey Tucker. That was who I wanted. Let's go Jacoby Lane. We have 3%. Let's get some more. Well, yeah, I probably do have around 3%. That one might actually be right. Ooh, or Trey Harris. Damn it. Damn it. Okay. Well, that's fine. There's other good receivers in this range too. I like Wicks. I like McMillan. I could also go running back too. So there's a couple options in that tier that I like. That's fine. Jacoby Lane. I'm not the biggest Jacoby Lane guy. I don't think he can separate from coverage. I mean, most people say that he can't, but can he big body kind of, head top people? Yes. Could he get a decent amount of touchdowns in the Ravens offense? It's possible. So I don't mind that pick. God damn it, Killer Kazoo. You sniped me on Trey Harris, you son of a bit. You guys see, that was exactly, I saw Trey Harris. I was about to pull him up, and then I kind of I missed it. I didn't get it in time. That's unfortunate. Killer Kazoo gets Trey Harris. That one hurts. That one hurts for sure. Forensic man cared off our opinion. 10-team keeper league, picking 4th. I'm keeping JSN as a 2nd. Guy drafting 3rd is keeping Pickens in the 2nd. So I expect 3 RBs to go first. Do I go Puka or some other receiver or take CMC Taylor? I would say, and anyone else feel free to answer this as well. Oh, I guess you guys can't see it. This is Twitch chat. That's right. I would go Taylor. I would go Taylor or CMC personally. Well, Puka though, if it's full PPR, you probably got to go Puka because you could legitimately have receiver 1 and 2 overall in the full PPR. If it's full PPR, it's probably Puka. Let's go Jalen McMillan. You know, I said that I hate Igbuka and that yeah, I'm just not an Igbuka guy. So let's get McMillan. That's one way. Definitely like I think that's one thing I could probably be a little bit better about as a player is like if I'm gonna fade Igbuka, I should probably buy the cheaper pieces because I do believe in the Buccaneers offense. I will say I have a good bag of Godwin, but I should buy a little bit more McMillan, Ted Hurst, those kind of guys if I'm gonna fade Igbuka so aggressively. If I do believe in the Buccaneers offense, and I don't really believe in Igbuka. I think he's overpriced. It's not much that I don't believe in him, but I just think he's overpriced where he goes. Um, like I think Ibuka should be closer to like the Christian Watson tier, in my opinion. I think I think that would be more of a fair range to me. I think where he goes now is like close to fair because there's not too many receivers that go after that. But like I prefer Garrett Wilson to him. I probably prefer Burden to him. I mean, him and Burden, I feel like are similar bets. Like Buka, you could argue maybe showed a little bit more as a rookie, but you know, I mean, not crazy. He looked pretty bad down the stretch too. Like he showed more, but he also showed more games where he looked pretty bad too. And I think the Bears offense as a whole, I expect to be better than the Bucks. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think Ibuka still should probably be closer to like 4 or 5 turn, especially with the injury concerns, should probably be closer there. So I still think he's a little overpriced even in the fourth. So I should probably buy into that with some other Buccaneers pieces. Chris Bell going early, pulling him up. I don't mind that. The Burgess. What's up, Austin? Um, I think right, Austin Burgess. I think it's Austin. Um, Omar Cooper on the fall. I don't mind it. Brian Robinson is a reasonable pick. Uh, damn it. I didn't even get it in. Fuck me. Man, I do not have nimble fingers tonight. I'm not getting these picks in time. That was unfortunate. Um, Oh yeah, but Forensic Man, I probably lean slightly towards Puka for the if you can get him. I think just the odds of having 1 2 if it's full PPR, I lean towards Puka. If it's anything less, if it's half or standard, go with the running back. And I would lean Taylor over CMC personally, but I'm kind of biased. I love Jonathan Taylor. So I might be a little bit biased in that one. Um, Draft much more important. No complaints here. Hey, appreciate it, Enchan. Appreciate it. What's up, big dog? Hey, what's up, Austin? What's up, Burgess? I'm at the 105. All right, yeah, I saw you in here. And actually, let's wait, thanks, stop by, bro. Appreciate it. Let's actually check out who's in here. So we got Ensup at the 1. That's Enchan Birds. We got the Burgess at the 5. Got 4 quarterbacks right now. Intriguing with Jaden Daniels, the 4 quarterbacks. Not sure how I feel about that. Might have a auto to pick. We got game tight at the 8, at the 9. I'm at the 8. We got Killer Kazoo at the 11. I think that's it. If anyone else in here and I didn't mention you, let me know. All right, what do I want here? Kenny and Sadiq. See, I'm actually really underweight on Kenny and Sadiq, but I am buying him for sure right now, especially like a tight end room like this. And I don't like that the Isaiah Likely thing. Did one of you guys take Malachi Fields? Oh, you didn't even. I should have picked him probably. If he doesn't come back, that's fine. He's been moving up a decent amount. I kind of wanted to lock him up, but I do like the Sadiq price. You know, I think Sadiq just this late as a first round tight end. I was pretty out on him in like pre-draft. I was pretty out on him most of the drafting cycle. But with him going this late and just like the draft capital, I think I'm willing to make that bet on him. I mean, he's in a tight end range that's like pretty terrible. Like, look who else was left. We have Arande Gadsden, who's a 0. I'm not picking any Arande Gadsden. I'd rather pick Charlie Kolar or Njoku over Gadsden. Kate Otten is, kind of mid. Gunnar Helm doesn't sound great. Sounds like Bellinger is going to take a decent amount of snaps away from him. Darren Waller, I don't know. He's a fine pick, I guess. Mainly on Dolphin stacks, but I'm not picking a ton of him. Or not Dolphin stacks, Bryce Young stacks, Panther stacks. But yeah, I think at this point, like Ferguson goes in a range, or not Ferguson, Sadiq goes in a range where he's just a good bet. I don't know, just draft capital wise, I think it's a good bet. Mason Taylor is decent, but I mean, it's not like he's an insurmountable obstacle. I think Sadiq will definitely start the year really slow too, but I think late year he could have that big upside. And then, that's kind of what I like with Kelsey, right? Because Kelsey will probably start out maybe not start out hot, but he'll start out like decent, just consistent, getting a good amount of receptions for me. But he might really fall off by the end of the year, and then maybe Sadiq's really hitting his stride by then. So that feels good. And then Isaiah Likely, he'll probably contribute pretty much nothing, but he stacks with Jackson Dart, so that's why we pick him. Not my favorite, but we did pick Isaiah Likely. Um, where's Blunt? I need to know what just happened to the MVP. What do you mean? What happened to the MVP? What do you mean? What? I have a bag of Justin Herbert. Don't tell me something bad happened to Justin Herbert. What happened? Herbert launched it to Quentin Johnson for a 65-yard touchdown. Oh my god. Oh my god, what a goat. Why did it have to be to QJ though? Why did he throw it to QJ? I don't pick QJ. That's not good. All right, this time we take Malachi Fields. Hey, shout out you guys. We got Malachi Fields back. I appreciate it. We have the Dart double stack now. We took them on stacked. We doubled it up. You love to see it. All right, what do I need on this team? What should I pick? We're gonna definitely call it good with Herbert Dart. I'm not gonna get into the Atlanta QBs. We could go wrist up for Shadur. I don't know if I have any Browns though, so probably not. Yeah, we're not gonna go wrist up for Shadur. Running back's decent. So I could go running back or receiver, honestly. Either one would be fine. Big Naj goes. We would have thought about Big Naj for sure. That would have been a totally fine pick. Kareem Hunt, I don't mind. I think Kareem Hunt's a viable pick right now. I don't have any of them, so we can see if he goes on a team. Jeremy, I think is a really good pick right now. Not really good pick right now. I shouldn't say that. I thought Jeremy was a really good pick the whole time, and he scored a touchdown tonight, so I'm feeling extra slappy about him. So I'm thinking about picking him here. Running back, I have Hampton, Brees, Rico, Dobbins, Brian Robinson. What does Kareem Hunt really do for that? I mean, yeah, my receiver room probably needs it more because I took a pretty big break after Marvin Harrison. So let's go Jeremy. I love Jeremy. Let's get some of him. That feels pretty good there. Um yeah, but guy fucked me taking Goff. Yeah, I don't know why he did that. That was kind of a bizarre pick to me. I didn't understand that at all, especially over Mahomes. I really didn't understand it over Mahomes, to be honest. I'm not even like a huge Mahomes guy. I'm not even overweight on Mahomes or anything, but yeah, really odd pick to have him on stacked. He had Caleb Williams. I guess he game stacked his quarterbacks. I wonder if he's like a newer. I mean, I guess he has a black badge, which I think is 500 drafts, but you can get a black badge a lot of different ways, I guess, too. But yeah, definitely interesting. It's like he game stacked the quarterbacks, but he doesn't have any stacks with Caleb or Goff. Maybe he just thinks Goff is a great pick. Maybe he just loves Jared Goff, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, very odd pick by that guy there. Go back to the bottom. And then we'll check out the teams. But yeah, Justin Herbert looking pretty sick. Um Justin Herbert in midseason form against the Rams third stringers. Oh, he fumbled it. He lost a fumble on the handoff. Oh yeah, he just dropped the ball on the ground. What a bum. No, not really. Not really. Justin Herbert, he might be a little bit overrated. He might have never really won anything, but man, he can pad some stats. So we love him for fantasy football. Um, what was that? What was that? I was about to look up something. Can't remember what it was. Oh yeah. I'm gonna put a poll in the YouTube chat. Um, I am not locked in the slightest tonight, unfortunately. But we drafting. You can get in the drafts with me, so it works out for you guys at least. At least you can get some EV. But let's go over to YouTube. I'm gonna drop a poll in the chat. Vote for what you guys want to draft next. If you want, we can either do BBM, Field General, or Puppy. Any of the three. I'll even put drafters in there. If you guys want to do a drafters main, I'll do that. I like drafters quite a bit. I just people don't really draft as much, so we got remove. Oh no. Wait, give me a second. I gotta ban the spam account. Um ban user and delete their comments. Hell yeah. All right. Let me start a YouTube poll and then we'll check out the teams quick. All right. What we drafting next? So we can either do Puppy, BBM, field general, or drafters. All right. Start the poll. Yeah, so go ahead, vote for that. And then Underdog Fantasy. Heck yeah, I get banned, nerd. But yeah, go ahead, vote for that. We'll check it out after I check out the team. So if you got an opinion, go ahead, vote down below. Heck yeah, get banned, nerd. Hell yeah. Hey, what's up, Underdog Fantasy? Thanks for stopping by, bro. The Burgess 105. Oh yeah, no, I got you. I got you. I know. I'm familiar with the name. I'm familiar. We'll check it out. So we'll check out. So I'm gonna check out Ensup, the Burgess, myself, obviously, and Game Tight. Killer Kazoo, if you're in here, if you want to review, let me know. We'll check you out too. But right now we're gonna stick with these four and hop in another. But if you want to review, let me know. I'm just not sure if you're in the chat or not. Because the puppies, you know, sometimes people just be ripping puppies, so you never know. Daniel Quantilla, hey, rate my draft, 12-team PPR league. Herbert, JSN, Zay, Chase Brown, Javante, DJ Moore, Michael Wilson, Tyler Warren, bench, Jonathan Brooks. I like your running backs quite a bit. I like Brooks on the bench. Marshawn Lloyd on the bench is nice right now. Yeah, I think it's solid. I like the upside swings of Brooks and Conception being on your bench. You're not forced to start them. You get a big upside swing at those guys. And I think your starting lineup's pretty solid overall. I'm not a big Michael Wilson guy, I'll be honest. I am not a Michael Wilson guy, but having Brooks or Conception as an available piece to maybe take that flex spot if one of them breaks out, and Michael Wilson as like your early season guy, you know, he'll have a decent role right away. I think that feels pretty good. So overall, I think solid. You have a really strong quarterback and tight end as well. And I don't think your position spots feel too weak. You know, like I said, Michael Wilson's probably the only guy in the starting lineup I don't really like. And I think having Brooks or Conception available, if they do kind of hit to like fill that spot for you, actually feels really good. So I think it's a pretty solid team, Daniel. Yeah, really solid team. I like it. I like it quite a bit. I like the Algier and Lloyd bench pieces too. I like those as like good backup contingent pieces, especially Lloyd right now. I mean, he's feeling great right now. Toby Mitchell, I drafted Josh round 2. I'm in a PPR league of 13. What's the advice? You drafted Josh Jacobs in round 2. I mean, you don't love it. I mean, I'm in a creator league. I drafted Josh Jacobs in that. I'm not feeling too great about that. That was a 14 man. I mean, obviously, if Lloyd's available at all, you try to get Lloyd. If not, you kind of got to wait and see, honestly, because here's the thing. Right now, you're just not going to get value back on your Josh Jacobs, and Lloyd is going to be heavily overpriced if that owner knows like what's going on, right? If you can get Marshawn Lloyd, maybe try to get like Sean Tucker, I think could be a pretty good ad. I'm not saying don't trade for Sean Tucker if he's owned, but if Sean Tucker's not owned, maybe pick him up. That could be a decent play. But right now you can't really do too much with the Jacob stuff because we just don't know, and no one's going to give you fair value, and you're going to have to overpay for Lloyd. So it's right now it feels bad, but you got to sit and wait. You got to kind of hold it out. You can try to get some of those other random backups though if they're available on waivers, especially. Oh God, QJ 65 yard. Yeah, unfortunate. But Rams playing third, fourth stringers. That's true. Drew Davenport report out. Okay, we'll check that out. We'll check that out in a second. We'll check. Yeah, we'll check that out in just a second. Sadiq just feels a little bit underpriced. Like yeah, it's the check, but dude is an athletic freak. It's the Jets. Yeah, no, I agree. And what's up, Long and Shortman? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, it's not the most ideal landing spot, and I was not the biggest Kenyon Sadiq believer coming out of college. I think some of his college metrics are a little bit underwhelming. But when you look at his athleticism and his draft capital, I mean, if you're getting that this late when it's just like really lower tier tight ends, you know, Kate Otton's a fine pick, but what's his upside really? Gunnar Helm kind of same thing. Like Gunnar Helm's kind of a mid pick. He's okay, I guess. But like, you know, you look at Kenyon Sadiq, it's like we're looking at a lot of like, I mean, Gadsden, I think is undraftable. Evan Ingram, I mean, looked terrible last year. Maybe bounces back. He was getting some good preseason reports. But like realistically, like where Sadiq goes, I mean, these tight ends are really like low tier. Like, yeah, give me the shot on the guy I picked in the middle of the first round of the NFL draft. The athletic freak. And you know, athleticism matters more at tight end than it matters at any other fantasy relevant position, right? Running back, receiver, it's like not very predictive at all. Tight end, it's actually decently predictive compared to the other positions. So, yeah, I definitely think he's worth taking shots on, especially this late. Killer Kazoo, what's up? Hey, what's up, Killer Kazoo? Thanks for stopping by, bro. What's up, man? If you can give it a quick look, thumbs up, thanks. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I just want to make sure because like some people like especially with the puppies, some people just be ripping the puppies. So but yeah, if you're here, no, we'll definitely check it out for sure. Sean Tucker to the Packers, smash season inbound. Hell yeah. No, he might be. He might be on his way to the Packers. He might get cut. It sounds like the him getting cut smoke is pretty real. So that's definitely a possibility. Sup, dog? Hey, what's up, Omega? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Appreciate it. Drew Davenport says kind of what I expected. Most likely push till next year unless a video of actual physical violence comes out. Okay. Appreciate that, Who Ames. Appreciate it. I mean, we'll check out the. Yeah, I mean, we might skip the full report on here. Then Drew Davenport's a little wordy sometimes, but I'll assume I'll believe your reading comprehension. I trust your reading comprehension. So yeah, no, and I mean that makes sense. And it seems like if we are going to get a good value on Jacobs, I think I want to buy right now. So and it does usually that's how stuff goes in the NFL. It gets pushed till the next year, right? Even like the Rashi Rice thing, it got pushed and it was like it seemed like it was going to get pushed even another year and then he took a plea deal. And I really don't know if Josh Jacobs is going to take a plea deal right before the year when, yeah, Marshawn Lynn's healthy, but like I said, they can't really trust him too much. So, yeah, I mean, I also kind of tend to think that that's the most likely outcome. Mr. Smee, what's up, dude? Always glad to see you streaming. Hey, what's up, Mr. Smee? Always glad to see you in the chat, bro. Always glad to see you. But yeah, hey, no, appreciate it, brother. We just finished a draft. We're gonna check out some teams real quick, and then we're gonna get another one. D Cooper. Who the hell is D Cooper? Darius Cooper. I'll have to look him up. I'm not familiar with his game. All right, let's check out my team first, and then we'll check out Ensup, we'll check out Burgess, Game Tight, and Killer Kazoo, and then we'll hop in another draft, whoever you guys vote for. So I did 2583. We got Herbert Dart, totally good for a 2 QB build. Happy with that. Got a good value on both of them, but a really good value on Dart, 10 picks passed. Maybe that's not a really good value, but to me, where he goes at ADP is a really good value already. So if I can get him anything past ADP, it feels great. I love Jackson Dart, one of my favorite quarterback picks this year. Omarion Hampton, Brees Hall, Rico Dowdle, J.K. Dobbins, Brian Robinson. Feel totally good with that 5 RB room. I think I have 4 solid guys up top. All should be like Brees and Hampton, kind of the workhorses on their team. Then I get 2 guys kind of in split backfields. Hopefully on pretty good teams. Denver, definitely a good team. Pittsburgh, I'm hoping a little bit better team than people are expecting. But hopefully the lead back in both those backfields. And then B-Rob, just some injury contingent if the other B-Rob goes down. If Bijan goes down, then Brian will take over, hopefully. So feel pretty good with that 5 running back room. Amon-Ra, Tet, Christian Watson, Marvin Harrison, Jacoby Lane, Jalen McMillan, Malachi Fields, Jeremy Bernard, Travis Kelce, likely Sadiq. I think my tight end room is decent. Waited a little bit, but kind of double tapped it with Kelce likely. I'm not a big likely guy. Like I said, I'm not a fan of likely. I think he's kind of a bad pick. I had it stacked up though, and it wasn't a great spot where I saw really anything else I really wanted. So we took likely there. I think it's fine on this build. It makes sense. So tight end feels okay. Receiver feels okay. I did wait a long time for my wide receiver 5. I would prefer a better wide receiver 5 than Jacoby Lane, but I think it's okay. It's just putting a lot of pressure on my top 4 guys. So yeah, I would have liked a little bit better wide receiver 5. Like maybe you could argue where I took likely actually would have been a really good spot to go receiver instead. I will say Shaheed and Debo went right before me. I was going to pick Trey Tucker. That was the guy I was going to pull up. I think this team feels better if I get Trey Tucker over likely. Not like crazy better, but I do think it feels better. And then if I just went with a later tight end, like I could have went with like, I don't know, the tight ends kind of went before me. I could have went with like Dalton Schultz instead of McMillan and then Trey Tucker instead of likely. And I would personally like the team better than I do right now. Like with that 2v2. If I went, actually the 2 guys Ensup took, if I had Trey Tucker and Schultz instead of likely and McMillan, I would be happier with the team. But that's a pretty minor thing. Overall, though, pretty happy with the team. Feels okay. Would have liked to also get a deeper Charger stack, but that's fine with the running back. Herbert runs a decent amount. I just think they're very high scoring offense potential. So I think that feels pretty good. Overall, the team feels pretty good overall. It's not like super weak even at receiver. Receiver is definitely the biggest weakness. and it doesn't feel like super weak. Just though probably would have preferred a little bit better five receiver five, but yeah, no, pretty decent team actually. I don't mind it. So yeah, decent team. Ends up 3-5-7-3, Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, Mendoza. That's solid for three quarterbacks. You get kind of an elite guy, and then you get Stroud as a second one, which I think is fine, and then get some late upside with Mendoza. I think he fits good on a build like this. You have your two like top guys not getting benched, so that feels pretty good at quarterback. Gibbs, Kenny Gainwell, Chuba, Chris Rodriguez, Keaton Mitchell. I think that's pretty solid. You have basically Hero, and then Hero, and then he waited a while and then went four straight, all kind of in split backfields. Maybe Keaton in less of like a split backfield, but hopefully has some of those big spike weeks in best ball, right? And then the other three guys kind of in more split backfields. I think that's a pretty reasonable way to build it. You have your Hero holding like the one spot, and then the other four guys are just kind of all fighting to take over that RB2 spot every week. And they're all going to be on the field every week. So I think that feels like a pretty good way to build the running back room with a true hero up top. And then you really like hammered it, right? You didn't just get like two and then kind of ignore it and go late again. You really like hammered it out in that like middle range, mid late range. Like kind of right before the big fall off at running back. So I like that. Malik Neighbors, Devonta Smith, JMO, Parker Washington, Trey Tucker, Keenan Allen, Darius Cooper. Yeah, I think that's pretty solid because you went not four straight to start, but you went four straight after Gibbs, which feels good for your top four. Trey Tucker, I like better as your fifth than like my fifth. Keenan is a fine sixth, and you got some value on him. So I think that feels fine. I think he's a fine pick where he goes, and you got some value. So that feels good. Darius Cooper, I've never heard of this man before in my life. Give me the rundown if you got any Darius Cooper info or stats I should know. But maybe we'll look him up quick after we check out the teams, or I'll keep him up on the side tab so I don't forget. But yeah, let me know about Darius Cooper. I know he's stacked up with your Phillies, so that makes sense. But why not? Why not Johnny Wilson? He's like 6'7", right? Is he still an Eagle? Yeah, Johnny Wilson's still an Eagle. Why not him? He's tall as hell. He looks sick out there. Yeah, let me know about Darius Cooper, Tucker Kraft, Schultz, Kate Otten. Pretty strong tight end room. Could have stopped at two with Kraft and Schultz even, but throw on Kate Otten I think feels perfectly reasonable. So good tight end room. Overall, I think solid team. I like the way you did the running back room too with the hero and then the waiting. I like that. I like that build construction. Definitely a good way to build it in my opinion. So yeah, I think solid team ends up. I don't really see any spots. I don't really see any spots I would have done much different. I guess, yeah, not really. I think it looks pretty solid. Like the team quite a bit ends up, or Enchambered. Let's check out the Burgess 4-5-7-2. So, probably not auto drafted the quarterback. So let me know what was the deal with the Daniel Jones? Why the four quarterbacks with Jaden Daniels up top? I'm intrigued by that. So Jaden Daniels, Baker, Malik Willis, Daniel Jones, obviously a very strong quarterback room with good upside and good floor. So very strong quarterback room. CMC, Bucky, Jordan Mason, Charbonnet, Seth McGowan. I think it's reasonable. You have your hero up top. Bucky as a 2 feels really good. I really like Bucky. I'm getting more Bucky right now. So that feels really good as your 2. Mason as a 3 feels fine. Wait a while and get Charbonnet. I think that's reasonable. I prefer Charbonnet as like a 5th, if anything, but it's like okay. It's just you can't have any injuries up top, but it's an okay running back room overall. I would say this is fine. This is serviceable. Receiver Ladd, Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, Alec Pierce, Chris Bell, Hurst, Barry, and Brown. That's going to be a little thin. You really need Alec Pierce like healthy week 1. I mean, I know you got 3 above him, which can all start, but if Alec Pierce like has a slow start or anything or any lingering effects from that ankle, I think the receiver room could be hurting. It's okay, but like I really think one of these quarterbacks should have been a receiver. Definitely like one of these quarterbacks should have been a receiver or running back, and this team feels quite a bit better. Bowers, Chig, that's totally fine at tight end. Anything with Bowers pretty much is fine. So that's good at tight end. You have Bowers, you have an elite. Yeah, I think it's an okay team. I think your receiver room has a lot of risk in it. You have Chris Bell coming off the ACL. He's just getting back to practice. We haven't even seen him in preseason action. I think he's a fine pick and a fine pull up where you took him, but I really think you should have got a better 5th receiver probably on this build. especially with Pierce as your fourth. I know he's a good price right now. He is back at practice, but he just got back to practice. I do worry about him having a slow start. Yeah, I probably would have preferred a better fifth receiver. Um, it's an okay team, but I don't know. Receivers a little bit weaker than I would like, and I don't really like the four quarterbacks. I don't really think you have the luxury to do that. I would have preferred the build with one of them at receiver or running back, even like a better fourth running back would even feel better than one of these quarterbacks. I think, especially with Jaden up top, I just think it's really unnecessary. Um, Game tight, 2583, Bo Nix, Matt Stafford. It's fine. It's a little on the weaker side for quarterback, but if they're both healthy, then you're good. That's good enough. I like Bo Nix a ton where he goes. I think Stafford's a fine pick. Maybe a regression candidate, but I think he goes in a fair range. Bo Nix, I think, is a really good pick. So like those two. I think it's reasonable for two. Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Javonte Williams, RJ Harvey, Marshawn Lloyd. Very strong running back room. Started with 3 straight. Still got Harvey as the 4. Got Lloyd, pulled him up a little, but I think into a reasonable range. He didn't way overpay or anything by any means. So I think that's a totally solid running back room. Or a very strong running back room, actually. Sorry. Very strong running back room, definitely. With some good upside with Harvey and Lloyd. And then Waddle, Devontae, Brian Thomas, Chris Godwin, Rashid Shaheed, Pat Bryant, Jalen Naylor, Caleb Douglas. Like the receiver room a lot too. I think this is really solid. I like 4 by Godwin. I like Godwin a lot where he goes. I'm a little bit lower on BTJ right now, but I think he's still a reasonable pick. It's a great offense. If he gets a little bit luckier on those deep balls, then it works out good for him. Got Naylor at a little value. I think that's fine. Caleb Douglas. I think your receivers are really solid. Like that quite a bit. AJ Barner, Evan Ingram, Michael Mayer. I mean, tight end's kind of weak, but I think that's fine. It kind of makes sense, right? Your running backs are very strong. Your receivers are actually pretty good. So it makes sense that quarterback's kind of mid basically. And then tight ends like kind of bad. But I mean, it's fine, but it's definitely on the bad side, right? It's a weaker tight end room for sure. I think that is reasonable though. If you're going to punt a room, it should be tight end. You could have some upside if Ingram, does actually have a bigger role this year, like it's looked like in the preseason. And Mayer has obviously big upside. If Bowers went down, Mayer could also end up getting a decent amount of receiving, even with Bowers healthy. So I think it's a pretty solid build. You punted tight end, but yeah, receiver and running back are strong. Quarterback's good enough. So I think solid build, and definitely, yeah, just more focus on the positional players than the onesies, which is reasonable though how you did it. So solid build game type. I like it. I like it. Not a build type I do very often. I mean, well, no, I guess I do builds like this sometimes. I just maybe don't push tight end this far, but something similar, I could see it. And like some of the runs on tight ends that happened in this room made it kind of hard to get in at certain spots. So seems reasonable actually in that sense. So, yeah, no, I like the build though game tight. I like it overall. And you got some nice stacks too with Denver, especially. You really stacked that out with Bo Nix. Killer Kazoo 2583, Dak Prescott, Bryce Young. It's okay. It's a little on the weaker side for quarterback than I would like. Dak is almost in that elite tier, but see the problem with Dak compared to that tier just above him, at least to me, is like since he doesn't really have that rushing, you have a lower weekly floor with him, right? Like if Dallas has a bad week, you could have some really low floor weeks with this duo, which is what I don't like about it. About like these two together is the floor could be very low on any given week, even though Dak is a top tier quarterback, right? So that's what worries me a little, but I think it's okay. It's just on the weaker side for quarterback. But should be 2 guys not getting benched, so that's good enough to stop at 2. But it might be a little on the weaker side. Travis Achan, Ramondre Stevenson, Kyle Monangai, Rashad White, Sean Tucker. Yeah, I think that's fine. I would say Monangai should maybe still drop a little bit with that knee injury. It's a little worrying. Rashad White's an okay pick as your 4. You got Sean Tucker in case he gets cut and maybe you get some upside from that. I think that's okay. Running back's a little weak for me, but it's okay with Achan and Ramondre up top. It's on the weaker side. This receiver room better be nutted or you better have Trey McBride. You have Loveland and Warren. Okay. You don't have Trey McBride, but you have Loveland and Warren. You definitely shouldn't have picked Jake Ferguson. I know it's a stack, but I don't like that one. Um, I mean, yeah, because you already had CD Lamb too. I really wouldn't have picked Jake Ferguson. I think that was a mistake for sure. With this strong of tight ends, you invested. You're buying into these two. You shouldn't have picked Ferguson. Probably. I mean, it's not like the end of the world, and he can hit your flex, so like I kind of get it, but I don't know. I think that could have really been better used at receiver. CD Lamb, AJ Brown, Makai Lemon, Khalil Shakir, Trey Harris, Keyshawn Booty, Vele, Demario Douglas. Big Patriot stack without Drake May. Um, Interesting to me there that you went really, really hard on the Patriots. Oh no, Booty's not a Patriot. My bad, my bad. You only have two Patriots. It's not that crazy. Never mind, never mind. No, I thought Booty was a Patriot still. I forgot about that. Um, I feel like Ferguson should have been a receiver running back. Um, receiver receivers okay because you do have a very strong top two with Lamb and AJ Brown, but to go down to Makai Lemon, Shakir, then down to Trey Harris, like it's an okay receiver room, but I guess to me, it just doesn't have the other strengths really. Like tight end is just so overly strong in my opinion, especially the Ferguson pick. I don't like. I don't even like him in general. I'm lower on him in general, so I really don't like it on a strong tight end build. I think that was the only real big mistake. I think it's an okay build and you could get by with these rooms, but I would have just preferred a little bit more, probably especially at receiver. Um, yeah, it's okay. It could get by if it breaks right for you though. Um, all right, let's see what won the poll, and then we'll get into another draft. We're quite a bit behind in the chat. Ban user and delete their comments. We're getting spam for the NFL games. I mean, Pierce only got 8 games, and the dude hit a cop. That is true. That is true. But I mean, hitting a cop is probably more acceptable than hitting a woman in the NFL standards. Um, I mean, hey, real life morals, you make your own decisions. But in the NFL standards, I think the thing is, if a video comes out of him like doing any kind of assault on a woman, Josh Jacobs might just never play in the NFL again. I mean, realistically, he might go on commissioner exempt and be out for the year. But if no video comes out, he's probably not getting suspended this year. I think that's kind of the most likely case both ways. This is the most milquetoast summer, and then bang, last 3 weeks are wrecking it. It's time for football. Hell yeah. Hey, that's why you wait till August to draft, right, Omega? That's why you gotta wait till August to draft. Um, Michael Gold, can I run this trade by you? Hey, of course, Michael. What's up? Thanks for stopping by, bro. I gave up Alec Pierce plus Jordan Mason for Josh Jacobs plus Mike Washington. Yeah, 10-man full PPR double flex redraft pick the gamble. I mean, yeah, I mean, hey, if you're taking the risk and trying to win it, I think that's a reasonable trade. I mean, yeah, for sure, because Josh Jacobs is so much better than those guys. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think Josh Jacobs' upside is worth it. I I do think if you told me I had to bet all my money on an outcome, how many games does Josh Jacobs miss this year via suspension? I would put it on 0. I think he doesn't get suspended this year. I think it's next year if anything happens. And I'm saying that's if I had to bet right now at this very second in time. Is that a guarantee that happens that way? No, not at all. But I do think it's possible that he gets out of this without a suspension for sure. And I think that is the most likely outcome. Johnny Wilson on IR, damn. Fair enough, Enchant Birds. I didn't know. Fair enough. All right, you got me there. Darius Cooper season is upon us. I miss all NFL news now, LOL. And these last few weeks have had so much. Yeah, no. There's been I mean, that's kind of always how it goes, right? I mean, we have the preseason, we have real training camp. Like, you're not going to get news. That's kind of the whole thing with like June and July. It's the dead period, right? That's when no one's at camp. No one's like really doing much. There's no preseason games. So it's like, and like, all the depth chart stuff and all that's still super ambiguous. Now we're getting way more info. I think it always just kind of goes like this. But yeah, it does feel more like it's football time. Jacob's dead, then not dead, then dead again, then not dead again. Hey, yeah, and he's still alive right now. And Chamber, the Darius Cooper info, we got it. Darius Cooper has similar build to AJB and training camp reports out of Philly have been loving him. Hollywood Brown's potential cut candidate. Smitty Lemon hammy issues. He has a chance to see snaps. All right, that's fair. That's fair. And yeah, I mean, I don't really think Hollywood Brown's much of anything standing in someone's way. And that's a fair point if he's a cut candidate. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't mind that call, and that is a good point. Smitty and Lemon have dealt with hamstring issues. And especially Lemon, right? He's missed a good chunk of time with it. Not even like worried about him starting slow, but like, yeah, that could definitely re-aggravate in season if those guys miss time. Maybe he does get on the field. I summed up everything. There you go. Yeah, Who Ames summed it up well. Go to Who Ames for any legal advice on Josh Jacobs. Um, no, but I think that does kind of sum it up. That makes sense. That's and that does make sense. That's generally how it goes. The suspension won't happen until next year. Is generally how it would go, unless there's a video. Then if he does, he isn't owned by anyone except Eagles fans. LMAO. Hey, that's true. That is true. If he does go off, yeah, and you're getting a little different. Enchant Birds. Oh, you're an Eagles fan, huh? All right, yeah. I mean, I assume you're an Eagles fan. Let me know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I just noticed birds in your nickname in your username. That leads me to believe Eagles fan probably. But no, that's a good point. Hey, and you never know. Maybe now you're telling me, you're telling the chat, we might have to scroll down some Darius Cooper. Um Pierce might be the best pick on the board. Yeah, he might be. He might be. I'm definitely gonna pick more now that he's back at practice. I would say I am a little concerned still about the ankle, but they've been saying that he's playing week 1. He's back at practice now. He's off pup. Sounds like he's playing week 1. I will probably be picking some more Pierce, so I'm in a good spot. Do another after review. Yep. We're gonna all right, try and join. Hell yeah, brother. What's up, Minx here? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Sorry, you left this comment about 10 minutes ago. We are gonna get into another one. We are gonna get into another one. We're gonna get in whatever won the YouTube poll. Actually, that's a good point, Minx here. Asking if we're doing another. Let's get into one more. We've been on for an hour and a half. We've done one draft. I'm gonna check the YouTube poll really quick. So go ahead, vote if you haven't already. We'll hop in the draft, then I'll finish catching up with you guys. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna vote for drafters. Or no, I'm gonna vote for field general. I want to do a field general. Let's see what one though. Looks like it's the puppy. All right. We got the puppy. Puppy 57%. So we're gonna do the puppy. All right. Give me just 1 second. Sorry about that. All right. All right. So we're gonna get into a puppy. I will count it down. We're gonna get into the puppy in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're in. Waiting on 4 and the puppy. If you guys want to get in, go for it, and we'll check out the teams and stuff at the end. Obviously, we always do. I mean, I pretty much always do. Sometimes when I have a guest on, I don't, I guess, but I pretty much always check out the teams. So we'll get in there. We'll check out the teams. This probably will be my last one for tonight. I mean, we'll see, but it'll probably be my last one for tonight. All right. Draft starts. All right. So let's see what we got in here. We got Ant Phil first on fantasy at the 1. We got Who Hames at the 4. We got Game Tight at the 6. Killer Kazoo at the 11. Is Minx? I don't know if you're one of these people. DJ Spinoza, is that someone? I don't know. If you're in here and you're not Ant Phil, Who Hames, Game Tight, or Killer Kazoo, let me know. Those are the ones I know for sure, but the other ones, I see some that I might know, but I'm not sure. At Who Ames, damn, Jacob News, I gotta go see. I'm so out of the loop now. Oh yeah, hey, it just dropped today, Omega. So it's fresh. It's hot and fresh news. So you're not too out of the loop. Chargers dropped today. Drew Davenport report. Go read. Yeah, definitely just go read the Drew Davenport. I mean, he's the best at breaking down all the legal stuff in the fantasy space. Maybe we'll check it out. Who Ames did kind of sum it up though. It's a tough one, so buckle up. Let's check out the Drew Davenport report really quick. All right. Remember as you read that this is a legal breakdown and no way advocates for supports, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Give us your little spiel, sure. Jacobs was charged with 2 misdemeanor counts for the incident. He was arrested in May. Good time to point out when someone was booked on charges, that does not mean those charges will face. That's what happened here. Instead of felony, he was charged with these, these codes. Those are class A misdemeanors. Biggest bombshell of the day is hard to quantify because of the nature of the report. Wording is somewhat poor and vague. Can't tell if this is on purpose or not written well. Could be either. People are vociferously arguing it both ways. Vociferously, what a SAT word right there. Passionately would be the common word for it, I guess. In my opinion, jumping to conclusions from the support is a bad idea. Further, I don't think we need to in order to assess the situation properly. Come back to the video in a minute because it's the poison pill. Um, I get accused of lawyers speak a lot. Yeah, yeah. All right, we're up on the clock. We're taking Jonathan Taylor at 8. Um, Misdemeanors are far less difficult to file than felonies, so I'm wondering why it took over a month to secure the video. I'm wondering why I couldn't felony route and ultimately decided they couldn't make it, just a guess. So he's guessing that they couldn't make a felony case like six. They went with the misdemeanors. I'm paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing. Don't sue me. Why were they having such a hard time with forensic evidence? Was the video deleted and need to be recovered? Auto overwrite. Haven't heard anything on this. Bad guess. They don't think Jacobs had anything to do with it. Or to be charged with it. Could be a total nothing burger. Charges were not filed as domestic violence charges. My understanding is that Wisconsin is like Colorado, if that they don't have a specific DV statute, said they have essentially an enhancement that attaches an alleged crime. This is a significant factor for how the NFL views the case. Finish with some quick hitter, Kate. Yeah, the initial court date is 11/17, so November 17th, almost 3 months from now. I'd expect them to push this out to the offseason. So he expects the case to get pushed to the offseason for as far as the actual court date. The NFL precedent has been to allow things to play out before suspending. Personal conduct policy. Yep, the personal conduct policy language. Automatic 6. If it's only an automatic 6 games if it's felony battery or of a domestic nature. But apparently it's not being charged as a domestic assault and it's not a felony, as we know. Oh, bitch, we have the same spot. All right. Sorry, I'd make a bit. We'll get back to the draft in just a second. Sorry, we're going through the Drew Davenport report. So okay, so not a felony though, and this automatic 6 games only for felony or domestic nature, and it's not being charged as domestic right now. So that's interesting. Where does that leave Jacobs today? He may not be suspended this year because any charges would likely be dismissed or low level. Right. That's facts. That's facts. If they were filed, they wouldn't be, or if they were filed, they wouldn't be resolved until after the season based on the delay in filing. I haven't forgot about the video part of this. Just stick with me for a second, blah, blah. That sounds weird. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. This is like 21 parts. Holy shit. Yeah, okay. So it sounds like basically if the video goes public, right? So if the video goes public, Jacobs is screwed. If it doesn't, he's probably fine. So that's basically the deal. That's what it sounds like. That's what the legal expert thinks, as far as my paraphrasing and reading through it quickly. Which I mean seems to make sense. That does make sense overall, right? Based on the situation. So I don't know. I think Jacobs, if he does go in the 6th round, I'm gonna grab him. If he's in the late 5th, I'm probably gonna grab him still. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'll probably be picking even more on the fall, which feels kind of scary. But when you're trying to win a big tournament, it's like a swing like that is a huge value. And if he stays healthy, that's just a gigantic value in the 5th, especially in my opinion. If you can get Jacobs like anywhere after the Bucky Irving, Quinshon Judkins go off the board, I think it's a gigantic teardrop off at running back. And I think that he just provides like huge value compared to those guys. So I don't know. I do think I'd be willing to pick him, especially if he's after that tier of running back. What's up, Hartman? How's it going? Hey, what's up, Paulino? Going pretty good. Getting some drafts in, reading some Josh Jacobs, reading some Josh Jacobs legal trouble news. But how you doing, Paulino? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Appreciate it. All right, what are we doing? Oh yeah, I picked Neighbors at 17. I didn't want to pick one of those same running backs again. Devonta Smith's cool. I like Devonta Smith. I have been picking more Lad, like I said, but that's a nice little faller on Devonta Smith. Let's just grab him there. That feels pretty good as a little faller. I was thinking about pulling up Lad. I've been doing it quite a bit. I have almost 16%, as you can see. But yeah, we'll take the little faller on Devonta Smith. I like Devonta Smith quite a bit too. I think people kind of underrate him because he played next to AJ Brown so long. Berg over under is 66.5 receptions on drafters right now. I took the under. Yeah, and I mean that's just not that it's not that good, right? Like Jake Ferguson. Yeah, I mean, like last year, I don't know, with Lamb hurt, like he really got his target volume up there and like target share up there. If Lamb and Pickens are both healthy, I think he's gonna be a pretty big disappointment. I mean, he was pretty bad last year, really just did okay because he had 8 touchdowns. And he still plays on a great team, but if Lamb and Pickens are both healthy, I think Jake Ferguson's gonna be a pretty big disappointment this year. Um, was it a female cop? We may never know. I mean, that's a big steal if Jacobs plays this season. Yeah, no, I agree. And like I said, in the tournaments, I'm willing to take the risk. In my home league right now, like I have another home league draft, I think tomorrow or Saturday. I probably won't be taking the risk. Let's do Luther. I'm a Luther truther. I do like Swift a lot too. But I'm a Luther truther and I don't have enough of them. So let's get some more Luther Burden. I love me Luther Burden. The head coach of his team said to buy Luther Burden stock. That's basically insider trading. Easiest game of my life. The head coach said, I want to break the scoring record. And this is my favorite guy, Luther Burden. So, how can I not pick him? I also think Ben Johnson is like a goat at play calling, at scheming up players. So I don't know. I'm a Luther truther. I'm buying in. I'm all in on Luther. We're buying in. Yeah, it's either a 10 out of 10 trade or a 0 out of 10. I agree. For the Jacobs, yeah. No, you either got huge value or it kind of killed you. But at least you traded lower end pieces. Hopefully they were bench pieces for you. And then it feels good, right? Because it's like you either hurt your depth, which doesn't kill your team, or you really upgrade your starting lineup, probably, which helps your team tremendously. So I think moves like that are always good where it can possibly hurt your depth, but it can possibly really help the starting lineup. I think that's the way you need to play fantasy because you're trying to win, right? You're not trying to come in third place, fourth place, even if it's your home league, right? You make trades to win, not to get depth, not to help your bench. You make trades to help your starting lineup, and that really could help your starting lineup. Maybe not big steal, but great value. Yeah, and I think it could be a pretty big steal. I mean, his touchdown role in that offense is pretty big, right? And I do believe in that Green Bay offense quite a bit. Um, Man, doesn't fall again, 46 to a no badger 2 times in a row. So I don't know. These guys, I'm wondering if I'm assuming it's just people that aren't really too up on the news, especially with it being two no badgers taking them in the fourth round. Like I would expect at least a fifth round dip right now, but maybe not. I mean, maybe people aren't worried. Maybe they do know and they're like, oh yeah, well, we already knew about that. So same. We'll just keep them in the same spot. But I don't know. I would expect at least a little dip. Probably just people who aren't up to date though, I'd imagine. All right, what are we looking at here? Mike Evans, that's a good price on Mike Evans. I like Mike Evans quite a bit. It says I'm underweight. I don't think that could be true. These exposures aren't right, like I said. Like I say most times when I use this tool, but I think Quinshawn feels good here. Different bye week than my other guys. Kind of the last running back in that tier. I'm not a big fan of Jadarian Price. I just worry about his late season upside. I worry about him a little bit as a player too, right? Like how much has he really shown us? It's not like Notre Dame played all that top tier competition last year. Jadarian Price had 113 carries or something, 3 fumbles. Like, not great at ball security. Hasn't shown us hardly anything as a pass catcher. Was a first round pick with the last pick. Were the Seahawks kind of forced to do that because they let Walker walk? I don't know. I just have a lot of question marks for on Jadarian Price. I feel like I have a lot of question marks around this offense losing Clint Kubiak. So I just feel less confident in that offense as a whole. And I've never felt very confident in Price either. I also think that they absolutely love Zach Charbonnet, especially at the goal line. And when Price has had fumbling issues, I think that would be the first place that they'd probably be worried about putting him on the field. And that can be the reason why Helani maybe takes some work early in the highest value area of the field, and why Charbonnet, a guy that they absolutely love and trust, could take work late. With all that being said, this is a decent little value on Jadarian Price. We managed to fud him enough to get him back to me. It's either Price or Warren for sure. No one else is really in consideration. We'll go Price. We'll go Price. We just talked insane trash about him for about a whole round. It was all part of my master plan to get him to fall to me. No, but let's look at my real exposure real quick on Jadarian Price, just so you know I'm not lying. I have 4%. So it's like I'm not insanely fading him. I do think he goes after a big fall off at running back where I can see the upside case, but I feel like I'm just not nearly as sold that he's this elite talent that some people are. I think what he showed us in college was, kind of was really limited. And I don't think Notre Dame really played all that great a competition either. I have 3 minutes left in the slow draft. Let's make a pick quick. I'm in a bunch of eliminator slows, as you can see. They all have like an hour or less remaining on the clock. Pretty unfortunate in that sense. Um, I mean, Mark Andrews, is Matt Hibner real? I don't think Matt Hibner's real and he can't hurt me. Let's take Mark Andrews there. That's fine. We're just gonna make these pretty quick so we can get back into the fast draft, obviously. Danny Dimes, I need a second quarterback. That's for sure. Yeah, I have Trey McBride. I like Juwan a lot, but I need a second quarterback. Daniel Jones for sure there. Let me make this one last one, then we'll get back into the puppy streets. Where's the puppy at? We're 6 picks away on the puppy. We got time. Um, let's okay, what do we got here? Give Javante Tootin. Um sorry, this is not riveting content. I should have cleared out the slows a little bit better before I went live, to be honest with you. Jonah Coleman, I don't have any other week 10 buys at running back. I kinda had to wait till later. I got Gibbs and Javante, but I had to, and then Tootin has a third, which is fine, but then I waited a while, I got Keaton. I think Jonah Coleman's a fine pick here. We'll go Jonah Coleman. And then, okay, I'm clear enough. I can go to the end of the stream. So we're good now. But okay, I had to clear out those slow drafts. I don't want to be the guy getting auto Jordan Tyson. That would feel terrible. So as long as that's not happening, I'm fine. Everyone's scared of Jacobs. I'm just thinking best time to go and get him. Hey, and that's true. And especially if you're trading lower end assets that aren't really going to help your starting lineup a ton, I think that is totally reasonable. I think that makes sense, right? That's how you win the championship. And even if it doesn't work out, you don't kill your team trading away those pieces. Alec Pierce and Mason, they're nice pieces to have, but they're not like game changing pieces. If it autos me Pollard, I'm fine with it. See, I would really prefer Lemon or Sutton, but I can't do another week 10 buy. I already have two of them. And like, I don't know, maybe that's being a little bit too much of a bye week, bro. I let it take Pollard, which I think is a good pick there. Like just in general, I think he's a totally like, I don't know, he's a cromulent pick, right? Like I never feel bad getting Pollard. He's my fourth on my running back room, feels really strong. I would have preferred the receiver, but Lemon and Sutton were my top two, and they both have week 10. Godwin is also one of my favorite ones, and he also has week 10. So it just wasn't a great spot in that sense to go back to receiver. Didn't get a quarterback I like there. Caleb went to a game tight, unstacked with Swift, and I guess. But yeah, didn't get a quarterback back, so went with Pollard. Would have went receiver, but the bye week issue kind of held me off of those receivers. I'd go Addison. Downs would be okay. Downs goes. I'd go Addison here. Man, Diggs is really moving up, huh? I mean, he's a fine price, but I don't love having to pay that. I would much prefer Addison. Okay, Addison. I don't have a lot of quarterback outs. I guess I'll have Dart and Kyler after that, so that's okay. We'll go Addison. I do like Addison where he goes. I think he's a good price, so we'll get him as my fourth receiver. I think that feels pretty good. Yeah, the Pollard spot was rough because all three of these receivers I like, Godwin, Sutton, Lemon, but all week 10 buys, which didn't fit in. So kind of a weird spot for me, but I'm never going to be too unhappy getting Pollard at a little value. I think he's a totally fine pick. So the range of outcomes for Jacobs is no suspension to ban from NFL depending on video evidence. Yeah, well, it's not really no. So yes, but not quite because it doesn't depend on video evidence. It depends if the public sees the video or not. If the video could show him doing anything, it depends who sees it. That's the thing. If it comes out and it shows him assaulting a woman, then yeah, he's done. I mean, if it goes public, I don't know if he'd be banned from the NFL depending how bad it is, but he's probably done for this year. I mean, if it gets public and it does show that. But yeah, it's not really about the evidence, it's about the public perception at that point, I think. Because NFL, they don't want that. People boycott, teams will lose sponsors even if they don't like put them on an exempt list. Like, right, that happened with Kareem Hunt at first. Yeah, so like yeah, well, that happened with Kareem Hunt to the Browns, right? They got tons of negative pub for that. So They did sign him, but I don't know. If it was bad, then yeah, I think that would be kind of the range. Where'd Lloyd go? 90? 90 is way too high. Terrible pick. I think that's way too high personally. I think you're picking him over like real starters. I think it's too much with such little info. I think that's a bad pick, really bad pick. This guy's making a lot of bad picks though, so fair enough. Um, Tucker Craft at 55. Holy shit. That's crazy. Tyler Warren at 68 when Tucker Craft goes at 55. That's crazy. Um, Big Packers build though. Matthew Golden at 79. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, I got him in the sixth a bit ago. JT Walker, Devonta Watson, Jacobs, Jaden started that team. Nice. That's a nice start for sure. Nice. Go Birds, DH. Hell yeah. Hey, hell yeah, Enchan. I respect it. I respect it. I'm a Lions fan personally. I'm a Lions fan myself, but I don't have any hate for the Eagles. I respect the Eagles, so that's fine. Fine with me. Nice price on T Law. Pretty nice price. Why'd you go Mahomes? Do you have Rice? Oh, you had Rice. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's a good price on T Law though. I've seen him a couple times around like that 100 range, but that always feels good when he goes there. It's probably got to be Jackson Dart here. I wouldn't mind going Ja'Cory. Yeah, I mean, you guys are definitely going to snipe me on Dart if I don't take him. And I already have 4 running backs that I picked early. So I should probably get Dart stacked up with my neighbors, my first receiver. That just makes sense. I do like the Ja'Cory pick. I do want more Ja'Cory right now. But Jackson Dart is the best quarterback pick on the board, and we had him stacked up. So we had to do it. Simply had to do it. Damn it didn't put me in it. Oh, I'm in there actually. McManey. Okay, which one are you? McManey. Oh, you're in 2. Okay, all right, cool. All right, love to see it. Love to see it. All right, so we got like half the room friends and family. Love to see it. 21 pages. He's been waiting years to use that word. Yeah, no, for real. For real. I mean, he's a lawyer, so he's probably used to the big words, but yeah, he really busted out the SAT word on us there. His whole life worth to use that word. His work is complete. Oh yeah. No, yeah. It is just funny when you see stuff like that because it's like you can think of like so much like it's not even like dumbing it down words to use instead, but just like so much more like common English words to use instead of that. But it always does feel kind of nice when you can put in like a fat SAT word in your analysis. Okay, well, I probably shouldn't we'll see if you guys hate Kyler enough to give him back. I like Dobbs. I like Dobbs a lot. I really do like Dobbs' price a lot. I really think he could have a big breakout year on the Patriots. I think they might use him in the slot some. I think he's going to be on the field in all 2 wide receiver sets for the most part. I think in 3 wide receiver sets, he's going to be some outside, some in the slot. So I just think Dobbs is in a really good spot right now. I think the Patriots paid him a ton. They plan to use him. Josh McDaniels is also a good OC. He's always pretty efficient. And if they use Dobbs in the slot, he's been really good in that role. I think I think he could just really have a breakout year on the Patriots. I really like Dobbs quite a bit. Um Only if video is public and it shows them most likely. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. JT Neighbors like that start. Not sure if I have like your start. Oh, I appreciate it, Minx. Yeah, no, I see the last draft I pulled up I didn't pull up Hampton. I picked Hampton at like 17 and I had Amon-Ra. Um and I kind of wanted to switch it up. I was gonna actually pull up AJ Brown, and I saw he was already gone, and so I just decided to pull up Neighbors. But yeah, it does feel nice getting a little bit different with like a start like that. Like that's not something I probably have very commonly in my portfolio. So it does feel nice getting a little different combo. And I definitely think like when you can pull up a guy like Neighbors, at least to me, where like I feel like Neighbors can very realistically pay off the price or make sense to pull up, right? He's not like limited and he's not like drafted at a ceiling by any means. So I think he's a guy that makes sense to pull up. I mean, you could argue that for most of these guys on a 2-3 turn, honestly. But I think he makes sense to pull up to get a little different combo in your like portfolio where he can really pay off that upgraded price in like good outcomes. But appreciate that, Banks. There was some idiot in the Iron Throne League 14 man that started Chase Brown Neighbors. Hey, I thought your star was pretty nice, Who Ames. I thought that star was pretty nice, honestly. Um, I thought, yeah, Chase Brown Neighbors, that was a good start. I mean, you did Neighbors to snipe the Toxic Tower, which I respect. I always respect sniping them. And then Neil got him with Stribling, which I love to see. That was, good times with that. But yeah, no, I mean Chase Brown Neighbors was a good start. Honestly, Rob, the professional fanatics guy, he got the best start. He got a fucking gift, dude. He got a gift with that start. I couldn't believe it. Um, yeah, he got a gift. Don't forget Flournoy. I always forget Flournoy, brother. We're this is your boy. What's your boy's name? Oh my god, why am I dropping his name? Oh my god, Cowboys receiver, gadget merchant, fast boy. Cavante Turpin. We're a Cavante Turpin household around here, okay? We don't believe in Florida. He's not real and he can't hurt me. If you want the falls, go to DK. I probably should go more on DK to be honest. I probably should go more on DK. Pierce Kelly. Hey, what's up, Pierce Kelly? Thanks for coming by. What's the thoughts on Zay versus Lad? That's a good question. Let me make this pick. I will answer that. Okay, what do I want here? Ooh. Jared Goff at 128 unstacked. I mean, I was giving the other guy shit for unstacked Jared Goff, but it was ahead of ADP. Jared Goff on a 20 pick fall. We're doing it. I'm sorry if any of you guys have Lions, but I don't have any stacks left on this team. Philly gone, Chicago gone, Minnesota gone, New England gone. We're definitely taking Jared Goff there. That's easy pick for me. Who took Kyler? You took Kyler. Why'd you do that to me? Why would you do this to me? That's fine though. Kyler's a good pick. Oh no, you didn't take Kyler. That was this guy. He have Minnesota. He had Jordan Mason. It's kind of a weird pick. He also took Jalen Hurts on stacked, which I guess is fine. But see, I don't know why he would have taken Kyler. I guess Kyler over Shuck kind of makes sense. I would have taken Shuck, or I would have taken Goff. He had Laporta. That's so weird. I don't know why he took Kyler over Goff. That's so weird to me. I would have much rather had Goff if I was him with Laporta, but that's fine. I'm happy getting Goff at 128. That's a great value. I'll take Goff on stacked every time at that spot if it's my second QB. No doubt about it. So did Amon-Ra was right before me too. This guy didn't want Goff, really? Oh, this guy's building crazy. This guy has no idea what he's doing. So I guess that makes sense. Jinx 1001. A really weird fall. Oh, Dallas Goedert. I love Dallas Goedert. Yeah, I love Dallas Goedert. I think Shaheed's a good pick too. I kind of want more Shaheed because I was picking so much Diggs. He was going right in that same range for a long time. But I think Dallas Goedert's a great tight end pick. I think he should actually go higher with AJ Brown being gone. So I think getting him, not much of a faller, but getting him around ADP, I'm pretty much always getting him. Shaheed would have also been a good pick, but my receiver room feels pretty strong. So I think getting my first tight end there makes more sense, especially when it's a guy I really like. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That feels good there. Wow, yeah, yeah, kind of weird quarterback plays in this room. Oh, Zay versus Lad. So I think that the main thing, I think Zay is safer. Zay is the safer pick for sure. I think that Lad has more true upside. I think Zay is safer. Zay is not going to hugely disappoint you unless an injury happens. And even if an injury happens to like Lamar, he can probably still pay off fine at his current price. So I think Zay is a very safe pick. I question his upside as, Zay. Here's the thing with Zay Flowers, right? Like, let me pull this down for a second. Here's the thing with Zay. He's an undersized receiver, right? He's not very big, and he's always been pretty bad in the red zone. And if you look at even like you could say that's unlucky, but if you look at his advanced stuff, he's pretty bad at beating man coverage, like press man coverage especially, and that's a lot more commonly used in the red zone. He's heavily underperformed touchdown expectation pretty much every year of his career. And it feels like that could go. It's one of those things like, can that regress positively? Or is that just a thing where Zay Flowers is not a guy who's good in the red zone? And now they have a guy named Jacoby Lane who's going to head top everyone in the red zone, who's a giant, who can be their new like red zone guy. So I think Zay's almost for sure going to give you over 1,000 yards, probably somewhere around 70 to 80 catches, probably even 80 plus. I actually think his volume will go up if anything. So he's probably going to pay off fine and be a pretty good pick. And I think that Lad has the potential to be like a bust. I mean, he could be a bust for sure, or he could be like the league winner. I think Lad has more league winner potential to me, but he is less safe. I would personally go Lad over Zay if I had one draft, but I think they're very comparable. And it does depend a little bit what you already have, right? Like if it's your first receiver, maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable going with Zay since he is safer in my opinion. Uh what do I want to do here? Trey Harris? I mean, Trey Harris is cool. Yeah, we'll go Trey Harris. I was thinking about another on-stack quarterback, but that's fine. We don't have to. We can wait till later on the quarterback. I was also looking for Trey Tucker. I was seeing if he was there. He's gone. Trey Harris is fine though. I think he's just a good pick in general. So we'll pull him up a little, get my sixth receiver. I think that feels pretty good. Running backs are really strong, so I'm not really sweating my fifth running back at all. Tajay would be fine. I was kind of thinking about going Stroud and Schultz, but I wasn't sure if Schultz would make it back. So there are some tight ends to cover, like Chig and Strange might go before him. But I don't know. I didn't really want the on stack CJ Stroud in case like Schultz didn't come back. Schultz does go actually to this guy for his third tight end. So maybe better that I didn't take Stroud anyways. Sam Darnold on a decent fall. I think Sam Darnold's okay. Do I need him? No, my quarterbacks are pretty good actually. Um, ooh, Brenton Strange. I think Brenton Strange is a good pick. He's my second highest owned tight end. I think he's just a good value in general. Buy into a really good offense with the Jaguars. He looked pretty good last year. He dealt with some injuries, but pretty efficient, got a pretty good target share. So I think he could definitely take the leap this year, so I don't mind grabbing him. Um, Yeah, not a great spot, but I think tight end, I would have preferred Schultz getting Schultz back, but with him gone, I think Strange feels like a good pick there. Buy into a really nice offense. I think he has a pretty clear role in that offense as well. So feel pretty good with that. Um, oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So it kind of answers Zay versus Lad. Hopefully that was enough of an answer. If I was doing one draft, I'd go Lad, but I do think Lad has a wider range of outcomes. Zay is definitely safer and has good upside as well. Jadarian Price can't pass block, but he can catch passes and it's super explosive. He was a kick returner also. I'm a Notre Dame fan too. All right. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, catch passes, like he probably does have the talent to catch passes. It's just it was so limited, right? Like the sample is so limited. But they were saying in camp he looked good at it too. Like he can run routes. He's not totally limited. So I don't mind the call. I think that's I don't know. It is interesting. I just really worry about goal line is my biggest concern. The pass catching, I could definitely see being maybe I'm a little bit too concerned about it. I think it matters what the video shows, not if it comes out. Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Have to Toporino, Lad, Lloyd, brother. Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, that's like the people taking Mike Washington at the take Mike Washington at 60 because Genty looks like he might be out. It's like, brother, if Genty's out, Mike Washington might not even make it up to 60 either way. So it's like I don't know what those people are thinking. So I don't know. I don't get the Toporino stuff really. Like even Lloyd, like okay, Lloyd might move up really in the short term, but like if they sign Sean Tucker or like trade for James Conner, then Lloyd might like come back down to like, the kind of range with like the 100s or 120s. Like I don't think 90 is going to feel like a value unless like Jacobs got suspended for the year and Green Bay is like, yeah, no, Lloyd and Jonathan Brooks were or not Jonathan Brooks, Chris Brooks would just feel good with those two. Okay, I could definitely use some Cyrus Allen in my life. Let's get some Cyrus Allen. I need some exposure to this guy. I don't have hardly any. People keep taking him in front of me. I heard he's the only one that can beat man coverage on the entire Chiefs team. So let's get some Cyrus Allen exposure in here. That feels pretty good to me. That feels like a reasonable price to get it to. Listen until I pass out. Good night. Good night. Hey, what's up, basketball and call? Thanks for stopping by, bro. And appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate you stopping by. Basketball and call. Sup? Tucker Craft. Full go. News goes hard. Yeah. No. It does sound pretty good. I'm feeling and yeah, Tucker Craft at 55. Yeah. Maybe that's what he saw. He's like, Tucker Craft full go. What the hell? He should be going over Tyler Warren, which you could make the argument if Tucker Craft was fully healthy, he probably would go over Tyler Warren. So, maybe I'm the crazy one not pulling him up. Maybe I'm the crazy one. I do have a little bag of Tucker Craft, though. I'm not out on him by any means. Me for about 6 minutes. Oh yeah, brother. I have the third pick, and my gut is telling me to take CMC over Chase. Smooth THC, I will tell you, I had the third pick in a creator league that was filmed that I'll be judged on. Do I just want my boy Brian Robinson? Ooh, a third quarterback here, my boy Aaron Rodgers, unstacked. Let's go Brian Robinson. Eh, yeah, okay, we'll go Brian Robinson. That's 3 week 11 buys, which I kind of goofed on. I just realized it right when it was about to go through. Not a big deal. I don't mind it. Kind of weird. A lot of receivers are falling in this one. So I don't know. I already have 7 receivers I kind of like. So I'm not exactly sure how I want to play that. I managed to get Goff. I don't have Goff stacked with any Lions, but I have bringbacks for him every single playoff week 15, 16, and 17. So you love to see that. I at least somehow managed to game stack out all his games without having any other Lions other than Jared Goff. So, I would say that's pretty impressive work by me there. Um, but yeah, Brian Robinson though, I think he's just a good price in general. I was targeting Dubs. You were right about him. Hell yeah, Minx. Appreciate it. But yeah, no, I think Dubs is just I think he's just like, even if he doesn't have that big breakout year, I think that he's just a super solid value where it's just very unlikely that he disappoints you, in my opinion. Like, the breakout, I think he could definitely break out. I think it's a great situation for him. But I just think it's very unlikely he disappoints you. And you go with actually a really safe guy in that range too, Wandale, who's been falling some. And I think he's actually a really good pick right now with especially with him falling. I think before he was a fine pick, but him falling a little even feels better. I was grabbing him 98. Oh yeah, yeah. No, and hey, I love the Dobbs pick. I love it. Yeah, it was spur of the moment. Um, Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Spur. I think with the craft, I have the third pick, and my gut is telling me to take CMC over Chase. I wouldn't personally be able to do it, Corey. I would take Chase, or like if it was me, if I wanted to pull up a running back, I'd pull up Jonathan Taylor over CMC. That's me personally. Maybe I sound like a crazy person, but I am just not super in on CMC this year. I I would be Chase and then probably JT. But okay, but let me say this though too. I do not think that it is like, oh, actually, should I get Omar Cooper? Pick 200? No, well, Malachi Fields actually looks good and actually looks good though. So we should probably pick a receiver that's actually looking good. Omar Cooper at 200 though is pretty interesting, but there is, a thing where like a first round pick can still be a bust. And if all the signs point to him being a huge bust, maybe he's just a huge bust. So we'll pass on Omar there. I mean, if he comes back in the 17th, I might go 9 receivers, even though I don't need it. That actually wouldn't be that bad on this build. I don't think. I don't need it for sure, but I don't really need running backs either. I could probably use a quarterback, but like, which quarterback stacked up, right? I mean, like, I could use a tight end for sure. I could actually use a tight end. I'll go with a scroll tight end. Mendoza's a little interesting too. Mendoza's slightly interesting. David Njoku's a little interesting. Eli Raritan. Which quarterbacks do I have? Giant? No, there's not really anything there. Michael Mayer's pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, Fernando's fine. I don't have any stacks though. Yeah, let's go with the number one pick in the draft. Why shouldn't we take the number one overall pick? See, this is where we finally get QB values. It's August and we're finally actually getting quarterback values. We talk about this in past years how we were getting them. We're not really anymore. We finally get them. the number one overall pick in the draft. You can get him in the 18th round now. And how is that not a value, right? If the number one overall pick in the NFL draft is going in the very last round, seems like a value to me. We didn't get much correlation on this build, but I think I built a decent team. It's just not very well correlated. So, this is definitely a min cash ass team by me, but but yeah, no, I mean, the number one pick in the last round, right? I mean, how can you pass that up? And I needed a third quarterback, right? Like structurally, it makes total sense to grab a quarterback there. And yeah, number one pick in the last round of the draft. I mean, it just makes too much sense. It's too good of a value. Can't pass that up. Passing on 124 Goff felt bad. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, well, you have two good quarterbacks though, right? Yeah, you had Dak and Mahomes, so that makes sense. It makes sense for you like not to do it because you already had two, but with me only having one, I think that felt great. Bang. I think both have more league winning potential than Smith. You're talking about Lad and Zay. Lad and Zay. You're probably You're maybe right. No, I disagree. Actually, I think Zay has less league winning upside than Devonta. I think that's giving Makai Lemon too much credit that he's like automatically going to take target share away. I think Devonta Smith could legitimately be a 30+% target share guy. I know he's in the run heaviest offense most likely. Maybe Baltimore will be, although they've talked about passing more. But I do think Devonta Smith could very realistically have the highest target share of any of those guys. Well, Zay would be close, but Zay can't get touchdowns. Devonta can. I think Devonta Smith could realistically go 30+% target share. I don't think there's any guarantee that Makai Lemon is a guy that's taking away that many targets from him. And obviously they don't throw the running backs a ton, even though they talk about it. They don't really do it. We'll see if they do it with the new system on the Eagles I'm talking about. Same thing with the Ravens, actually. They've talked about it too, but they don't really do it. We'll see if either of them actually throw the running back, but I think Devonta Smith has more league winning upside than Zay, and I think that he is safer than Lad. So, but I mean, like splitting hairs. We're splitting hairs here. I'm not saying like you're way off base with that either. Like I think we're splitting hairs, but I think Devonta Smith could really get there without AJ Brown. I think people forget how good of a talent Devonta Smith is because he had to play next to probably top 5 NFL receiver for so long. I joined this draft to ruin Emmett's ADP on UD rest of the year since I'm mostly doing other sites. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Hey, I respect it. Well, I'm a Ken Walker bull. So if Emmett's doing good, then I'm doing bad probably. Greg Dortch team. Hell yeah. Let's have fun. Oh no, I'm not doing Greg Dortch. I'm not a Greg Dortch guy. I cannot condone the Greg Dortch. Hey, what's up, Hulk Smash? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Appreciate it. Wicks, Lemon, Goddard versus Bateman, Lane, Andrews, Hurts, Lamar. Give me Zay easy. Wicks, Lemon, Goddard versus. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but I do think that the Ravens will probably be more run heavy because they're well. I don't know how many like if you look at like NFL team pass attempts, like how much more does one pass than the other? Let's see. 2025. I know they have new offenses too. Like Baltimore threw it 24.8 times a game last year, and Philly was still at 29.6. I just think the run heaviness is a different level. I guess you could argue Baltimore just like will go more pass heavy. Philly will probably also be a little bit more pass heavy though. They were both near the bottom. But see, but Devonta Smith is just so much better than Zay Flowers is the problem. Like Zay Flowers isn't on the same tier of Devonta Smith as a talent, in my opinion. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm just a Devonta Smith hater, but I think the thing is like or Zay Flowers hater. But I think the thing with Devonta Smith is like in half PPR touchdowns are king. And I know last year he only had 4, but like all the years before that, he's had more than Zay has ever had in his career. And that's playing with AJ Brown for most of those. I just think that like touchdown wise, Devonta Smith could much more realistically get into double digits. And if Zay's still stuck around 5 to 6 touchdowns, like Zay's limiting factor is really just the touchdowns. But the thing with Jacoby Lane might not be that great, but if he's going to be good in any place on the football field, it's going to be in the red zone, right? And Mark Andrews is kind of the same thing. He's kind of washed, but he might be good in the red zone. Zay might finish with 1,350 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns, which would be crazy low for that amount of yardage, but he's always crazy low for his yardage. Where I feel like Devonta Smith could much more realistically get into that double digit touchdown range. I think that's just what makes the upside difference to me is I just see Devonta Smith having a lot more clear path, I guess, to the touchdowns. I do I guess like target share wise, they might be up there target share wise. It's hard to say too how much more will the Ravens go into that pass attack, right? Because Lamar is still going to run. They still have Derrick Henry. Will they actually go more pass heavy, or are they still just going to run a bunch and be the lowest pass rate team in the NFL? Maybe not lowest in the NFL again, but it'll probably be down there still with just the talent, the weapons they have. So I don't know. I think just the touchdown upside for Devonta is a lot higher, and that's what gives them the more true upside. But I do think it's close. Doyle and bring more pass game. That's what he says. Tyler Huntley isn't Lamar. He is not Lamar. That's true. Baltimore's numbers are a little skewed because Lamar wasn't around for part of the season. Yeah, but like pass attempts per game, would that be skewed? Like, would that be skewed negatively? I guess maybe they ran it more with Henry. But like, what was I guess we'd have to look at Huntley. Like, how much was Huntley chucking it? Because I mean, he's not much of a he's not. I mean, he's a little bit of a rusher, I guess. Were they letting Huntley chuck it or no? Let's see, 2025. So Huntley only played 2 games. Yeah, he only threw it 15, 22, 20. Yeah. Oh no, the 15 he only played 32% of the snaps though. So he threw it 22 and then 20 in his 2 starts or in his 2 like full games. So I guess it's a little bit down for that, but they're still going to be one of the lowest in the league for pass attempts per game. But that is fair. That is a fair point. Yeah, because Lamar is closer to like the mid 20s or pushing 30 in a lot of games. So that's fair. That's fair. Maybe I'm underrating that a little bit. I guess it would just be the touchdown difference then. It'd be the touchdown difference for upside, but Zay could get there on the touchdowns. I think that's definitely a possibility for sure. Um, like Devonta much more than Zay. I also prefer Devonta Smith to Zay, but I don't know. They do make some good points in Zay's favor. Maybe I'm underrating the offense a little bit. I will say the touchdown thing is real though, and there is real reason to believe that Zay will be a poor touchdown scorer compared to other players. Like given his build type and given his metrics against like man coverage and press man coverage, there are very real reasons to think that Zay will be less of a red zone receiver. And I don't think Jacoby Lane is that great of a player, but I think if he's going to be good anywhere, it's going to be in the red zone. And that's where Zay needs the most help, right? So I think Zay is just so capped by that touchdown upside. He needs to get 8 to 10. And if he can, then the upside's really there, but that's really just his limiting factor. Um, Smith was a better prospect, but in real terms, they're closer than the evaluation. Smith's still better, but Hurts ruins him enough to even that. I just disagree. I think it's an AJ Brown effect. I just disagree with you there. I think it's the AJ Brown effect, and yeah, I just think it's the AJ Brown effect. I think AJ Brown is a top 5 real life receiver, maybe not last year, but all the other years. And I think that just really hurts like Smith's ability to gain targets. And we can look at when you look at it's a small sample, but you look at the games that AJ Brown misses and Devonta Smith goes absolutely nuclear in most of them, right? His averages in those games are insane. And you can say, sure, it's small sample. Defense wasn't planning for it fully, right? But the thing is, Devonta Smith did perform extremely well without AJ Brown on the field. So I don't know. I think a lot of it's just a factor of he had a legitimate top 5 real life NFL receiver opposite him that on most other teams would probably even be a way more dominant target earner than AJ Brown. I think that just held Smith back. And yeah, I think with AJ Brown gone, it can definitely like really lean in his favor and he can really dominate target share. It's also possible the Ravens have to throw more because Henry declines a bit. That's fair, McNix. That's a good point too. Even though Tyler Huntley is a Pro Bowler, they don't want to be thrown 3 times a game with him on mail. No, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. For the team stats, I was being a little unfair with that. I will give you guys that. I was definitely being a little bit unfair in that sense. That is totally fair. It took Devonta 3 years to beat his career high fantasy score with Hurts as his QB. Minshew was the QB when he had his best score back in 2022. It took Devonta 3 years to beat. So you're saying his best score. Okay, I think I get what you're saying. But I mean, so Devonta Smith, let's see. Devonta Smith, what's his best? So his best is 2022, the first year AJ Brown got there. Yeah, I mean, that's true. He has not beat his career score since then. That is true. That was AJ Brown's first year there. They were more pass heavy. They're talking about being more pass heavy this year too. But there's no AJ Brown there, and he did put up that season with AJ Brown. I just I don't know. I really think he could break out without AJ Brown there, I guess. When like did AJ Brown miss any games? Because Devonta Smith didn't miss any. Did AJ Brown miss any games in 2022? 2022. No, AJ Brown played all 17, so they were just both monsters. And then Philly got Saquon, right? So then they went less run heavy, I guess. Or more run heavy, I mean. No, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Um I also think Lamar's injuries contributed to the low pass rate, but Lamar ran less, if anything. Lamar even said he ran less. So like if Lamar was active, I think he passed more probably because he was running less when he got back from the injury. Like that was his lowest rush attempt season in a long time, even per game. Um, so I think Lamar might have passed a little bit more than normal with the injuries, but that's fair. I disagree on TD upside argument to some degree. Everyone assumes ceiling TD for Zay is like 6. If the offense is more explosive, Zay breaks at least 4 super long TDs than the normal 4 or 5. I mean, yeah, I guess if the offense is more explosive, but I mean, you're talking about more explosive, like just by play calling, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if the offense is more explosive, sure. If you want to say Zay will hit way better on long touchdown variants, yeah, he has upside. What if Devonta Smith hits way better on long touchdown variants than he has in a couple years, and he breaks 4 long ones? I mean, because AJ Brown isn't there on the outside anymore. I think that's kind of a weak argument, honestly. Like the deep, like he just gets more deep plays, more deep touchdowns. Because they have a better play caller, I guess it's an unproven play caller. But if you want to call him better, I guess. But that seems like a high variance like thing to just hope for. Definitely not arguing one over the other. Love them both this year. I like both this year too. I think I'm overweight on both. They added 7 pounds this year specifically to help him break tackles in the open field to break more long runs. I mean, hey, it's gonna be harder to make those long runs if he's slower with 7 extra pounds of bulk. I don't know if I want my undersized receiver adding on muscle. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I think I don't know. I think the long play thing's like a weak argument though. Um, like he definitely could, but like I don't know. He could have last year. He could have the year before. Like I don't know. Like I guess he was used a little bit like a screen merchant in some of the games. So like maybe you could argue better usage, I guess. But I feel like the long play touchdown thing is just so high variance. Like Devonta Smith they also have a new hot OC, right? So same deal, I guess, in that sense. I'm more of a Mandrews and Lane at value guy. Yeah, I like Mandrews. I'm a little worried about that Hibner guy, but I'm a little worried about that Hibner guy, but I don't know. I do like Mandrew's current price. I think he's a fine pick for the touchdown upside. I think Lane is getting a little pricey, but he goes in an okay range. Hulk smash. Fun fact: Devonta has 3 touchdown games, one with Hurts, one with Minshew, and one with the combined powers of Pickett and McKee. Oh yeah, there we go, brother. There we go. See, Devonta can do it with anyone. Hell yeah. Um, Football de noche. Bro, I'm on the clock. Pick 11-5. Should I take Jordan Tyson? No IR spot. I have Puka, Neighbors, Tate, Godwin, and Diggs. Or do I take C-Rod, have Hampton, Swift, and Judkins? No IR spot's tough for Jordan Tyson. I think Jordan Tyson gives you more upside. I I probably go Chris Rodriguez to help with the bye weeks and stuff more. I think I lean Chris Rodriguez slightly. Jordan Tyson, that's a good spot for him, but with no IR spot, it does make it kind of a pain to hold him. If your benches are really deep, then maybe he's a little better. Like if you're 16 plus rounds, maybe Tyson, but like if your benches are pretty deep, probably Jordan Tyson. If you only have like 5 or 6 spots on your bench, though, you probably want to go with C-Rod. It's going to be hard to hold him for that long. Just thought it was interesting, not arguing for or against. All right, yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I don't know. I'm more of a Devonta guy, but that's fair. Philly lost Steichen. I think it was that year. Oh, that's what okay, right. Steichen went to go be head coach. That's fair, that's fair. Full honesty. You know, I probably lean I think it depends on your bench size. It's a close spot because your receivers are pretty good. So, like, does Jordan Tyson even hit your lineup? I'd probably go C-Rod. I think I'm C-Rod because your receivers are really good and deep already. I'd probably go Chris Rodriguez there. You're definitely right about him passing more on dropbacks. I just meant they called pass rate was probably lower to try to protect him. Oh, you're right. They leaned on Henry more. Okay, that's a fair point. That's a fair point, McNix. You make a good point. No, just guessing about that. Yeah, no, you're probably right. I mean, that's probably a pretty fair assumption. And I guess it would be worth looking at like um pass attempts per game. Let's look at it again. Let's look at 2024. Let's look at the year before. Where'd they rank the year before? So the year before, Philly was dead last and Baltimore was second to last when, Saquon went crazy and Derrick Henry went crazy. 2023 before Derrick Henry, how were they looking? Baltimore was second to last. They're actually tied for dead last the year before. So Baltimore has either been second to last or dead last the last 3 years in a row in pass rate. I will say last year was very low comparably even to the other 2 years. So, to be fair, you guys are probably right. They probably were a little bit extra low last year, but they have been bottom two in all of the last 3 years. Um, Philly was the lowest 2 years ago, but Saquon was also running for 2K. So I don't know. I just think they both got new OCs. They both might change a little, but Baltimore, I feel like just like I don't know. They both could go a little more pass heavy, but Baltimore's weaponry tends to make you think they'd be really run heavy too again, right? I mean, that's at least what I would think. But yeah, yeah. My build is very weird in this one. 3-4-9-2. Just started off kind of like different picks value, odd stack specifically. I didn't like any of the late running backs after Black, so I ended up 4. Weird build for me. All right, we'll check it. We'll check it out, Minx. I'll check out all the builds too. We're trying to catch up. I'm trying to catch up, but I'm trying to catch up. Then we'll check out the builds. What I'm saying is everyone acts like Smith can just do it and Zay isn't allowed to. Well, but Zay's never. Yeah, I mean, but Smith has shown the upside, I guess, in small samples when AJ Brown was out. And Zay really like has been kind of the unquestioned alpha of his offense for many years, and he's never really done it, right? Smith is in a spot where he was not the unquestioned alpha other than his rookie year. That was the only time he got the chance. And now he's finally getting the chance. Zay has been the unquestioned lead guy of that offense in the receiver room like the whole time, right? Or the last like 3 years at least. And he can't do it. So that's kind of more the issue is like, oh, you can say Jacoby Lane and Bateman are bad competition, but Jacoby Lane and Bateman were his competition last year. So why didn't he get more touchdowns? And was it Lamar was hurt? Okay, then 2 years ago, why didn't he get more touchdowns? It's like, like, are we gonna say Isaiah Likely took it all away? I don't. That's the thing with Zay is no one left all that great other than Isaiah Likely, who I think isn't that great to begin with. With Devonta Smith, one of the most dominant receivers in the NFL, left the team. Like that's the big difference. Zay's had his chance. Devonta Smith hasn't really. His rookie year, he had a chance, but that's kind of what I guess I'm getting at. That's why it's different. AJ Brown left the Eagles. Isaiah Likely left the Ravens. I think the big hope for Zay is that he gets more schemed red zone looks. If he can get open at will between the 20s, there's no reason he can't get open in the red zone in the end zone too. No, there is a reason though, because the NFL plays primarily zone coverage, and in the red zone they play significantly more man coverage. And Zay is not as good as a man beater because he's so undersized. And maybe it's not even because he's undersized, but he's just not as good as a man beater. He's way better against zone, and he's never been good against man. So it's like, I mean, I'm not saying he's terrible, but comparatively to where he gets drafted and the type of tier of receivers he goes around, he's always been pretty poor against man coverage and has used significantly more in the red zone or, in the tighter areas of the field. I have 8% Smith was his clear pick IMO. I mean, that's fair if that's your opinion. Yeah. I disagree, but that's fair. I can't what's up rocks. I can't click the link unfortunately. In the chat. I can't click it from here. Minx here, I went wild build 2. I'd argue forget Devontae, give me Love. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, different position, but yeah, he has huge upside. That's fair. Bet Monken took it all away. But we can stop for now because we can go all night. Smith is smaller than Zay, right? No shot, dude. Smith is smaller than Zay. Zay's a tiny man. Smith isn't even that's a see that's how I know. That's how I know. How tall is Devonta Smith? Let's see. Devonta Smith is 6 feet tall. Devonta Smith, 6 feet tall, 170, but he's 6 feet tall. Zay Flowers, and the height I would say matters more than the weight. Zay Flowers is 5'9, 183. So he weighs a little more, but like he's shorter. He's 3 inches shorter, which I think is more significant. That is generally when you look at like how these guys are separated out. The like a lot of the negative stuff on Zay is like receivers at his height when they haven't really shown that they can win in the red zone before, they don't really tend to come on and show that they can win the red zone. You know, even people like to compare him to like a Monra, but a Monra is taller than Zay too. A Monra is also 6 feet tall. So he's, you know, he was a guy who couldn't score touchdowns early, but he's not short. He's not a short king. Zay is a short king. So no, I would say Devonta Smith is bigger in the way that matters. Popcorn time. Weight wise, maybe, but definitely not height. Yeah, heavier. But yeah, but I think the height matters way more. If you look at like a lot of the historical stuff, like Dwayne McFarland did a good thing on this on Twitter. Just looking at receivers like at different height thresholds who had never scored more than 6 touchdowns in a season and had like over X route per X percentage route participation and X percentage target share. And it was the guys under like 5'10 never really broke out and never really did it if they didn't do it early in their career. And guys at taller heights did tend to do it later in their career, or they were able to at like a much higher rate. Not that they tended to, but they were able to. Where the guys at the smaller heights, they like never really were able to break that mold, even if they were good target earners and good receivers. Um, Devonta, in addition to Brown traded, will probably get some of those Goddard red zone scheme touchdowns. If you have seen the video cut up of Goddard CDs, it's pretty hilarious. Yeah, no, the little shovel pass, the little shovel pass scam. I mean, hey, that worked pretty good though for them. So it might work, but it might work out, but like they might just go back to what worked. But that is a good point. Goddard definitely ran super hot on touchdowns, so some of that could go to Devonta. Um, but I do think Goddard's in a good spot as well because I see no, please just let Goddard do his deal. Please, I'll 10 touchdowns. Not much else I need it. Yeah, no, I mean Goddard should still have a good red zone role for sure. But I definitely, yeah, some of those were pretty scammy. But then again, maybe those go back to Hurts because they seem like an alternative tush push. Yeah, we'll see. It depends on how the offensive line looks, right? I saw Lane Johnson had a small injury recently, so maybe a little bit worried about that. But yeah, I think that could go some back to the tush push or go to Barkley a little bit. So definitely could happen in that sense. Omega, haha, hoping for like a Wes Welker type thing. He has a couple of seasons with 8 to 10. All right, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Wes Welker. Wes Welker, he had some good seasons. He also had the GOAT QB, but he did have some nice seasons. I don't know. Like Zay could definitely get to 8 to 10. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's significantly less likely, in my opinion, given his build and history and the historical context of having that build and history coming into like this far into your career. Um, but all right. That's enough on Zay and Devonta. We can move past it. Let's look at these teams. Then I'm probably gonna get out of here after that. But let's check out these teams quick. Amphill 3573, Jaden Purdy Rogers, solid 3 QB build, gotten a lead up there like that. Bijan Brees, Bucky Irving, Chris Rodriguez, Zach Charbonnet. I think that's solid. It's really strong top 3. C-Rod as a 4th feels pretty good. Charbo for that late season upside as your 5th when you don't really need him to help these top 4. I think that feels like a good build there. Olave, Terry, DK, Stribling. We're Stribling, 97. Fair enough, whatever. That's fine for your 4th QB or 4th receiver capital wise. Joe McMillan, Trey Tucker, Kyle Williams. That's solid at receiver. McMillan Tucker as your 5 and 6 feels solid. Kyle Williams late dart. That feels okay. I like the top 3. I think the Stribling price might have jumped the shark a little bit, but I think it's fine capital to spend. And I don't know, he's going up there. So if you do want him, you got to pick him up there. So fair enough. Kelsey, Kenny on Zeke, Pat Fryermuth, totally reasonable tight end room. I think it's a solid team first on fantasy. Yeah. I mean, Solid team. I'm not the biggest like DeJon Stribling guy, so like I would maybe argue the receiver room makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's more just my personal kind of bias against some of these names. I think capital wise, you built it pretty good though. It feels like a solid team capital wise. And I think it's like I don't even like hate the receiver room. I'm just not a big Stribling guy as high as he's going now. Um McManee, Minks here, 3492, Drake May, Sam Darnold, Bryce Young. That's good enough. You got an elite. You got two guys who probably aren't getting benched. You know, had to get the third because he had the double week 11. So got a great value on Darnold. Oh yeah, because he was falling quite a bit. So got a great value on him. Like see that. Bryce Young as a third is totally reasonable. So I think that's a solid QB room. Gibbs is your hero. Then Monty, Chuba, Jonah Coleman. It's on the weaker side. You did mention you didn't like the running back values that came back. You were debating Kalen Black. You know, how much does Kalen Black really change for the room? Probably not a ton. Maybe a ton if McCaffrey went down, but probably not a ton most of the time. So it's okay. It's definitely weaker for a 4 running back build though. You know, I'm not a big Chuba fan, but I do think his current price is pretty reasonable. I wish you could have got a better fourth than Jonah Coleman if you're going to stop at 4. Really would have liked to see a guy with just a more locked in role as your fourth personally. You know, if Gibbs and Monty could kind of carry it, or you know, Chuba and Monty kind of carry that 2 spot, Gibbs can carry the 1 spot. So it might be okay, but it's definitely pretty thin. Drake London, Ted McMillan, Jaden Reed, Alec Pierce, Wandale, Xavier Worthy, Juwan Jennings, Demario Douglas, Torrey Horton, Bowers Henry. Bowers Henry's fine. Got the elite, and then you know another tight end behind it. Any tight end's fine. Got it stacked up with your May. Receiver's pretty strong. I like the receiver room quite a bit. Yeah, I think overall, like quarterback's good, receivers pretty strong, tight ends are strong with Bowers up top, obviously. It's just the running back room is going to be pretty thin. You really need these top 3 guys to carry. Like, you know, if they all stay healthy and Chuba really does take over as the lead RB there, or he's holds on to it, takes over, whatever you want to call it. But if he's the lead RB in Carolina, you could get by, but it's definitely going to be on the thinner side. It's going to be hard to get this through. Or same thing, like if Dobbins went down and Jonah Coleman has a big role, then you could get by in that sense as well. But it's gonna be a little tough. It's gonna be a little tough with this running back room. But the rest of the team looks solid. And the running back room could work, but it's definitely thinner. Who aims 3654? Quite the structure. Um Yeah, okay, let's see this. Dak, Mahomes. So Fields as a backup to Mahomes, I think is fine. So yeah, good QB room because those two are totally fine stopping at 2. Get some insurance with Fields, high upside if he does get any starts, right? So that feels good. Scattaboo, Dobbins, Aaron Jones, Woody, Emmett Johnson, Kalen Black. You said you were ruining the Emmett Johnson ADP, 165. Fair enough. A little bit too pricey for me, but ruin the ADP for others. I respect it. I respect the hustle. Um, Running back's fine. Yeah, I mean, running back's like good enough because I don't know. You got like I like Scattaboo as your hero. I like Dobbins as a 2. I think he's gonna be consistent, hopefully healthy all year. He promised he would be, so he probably will be healthy all year. Aaron Jones is your 3, is solid on a build like this where you're a little thinner up top. Woody as a 4 is good. Yeah, Emmett and Kalen for upside swings late. I think it's a okay running back room. Like it's good enough for sure. Puka, Pickens, Rice, JMO, QJ. I don't love it. Let's see. Kincaid first and Barner, Kolar. I mean, I don't think Kolar was necessary. I probably put it at receiver. I think I really don't like QJ and JMO on a 5 receiver build because they just both have really low floors, most likely. Maybe JMO's floor is better, you know, new system, new OC. Maybe he does have a more consistent role. But we've seen him put up multiple 0 balls even in good years. So a little concerning there. QJ also has been known to, you know, have big spikes, but also disappear. So I would have liked a 6th receiver probably over the 4th tight end, but I don't know. I mean, it's all right. I don't love it. I don't love it. It's definitely a weird build. I mean, 5 receivers is definitely weird, but yeah, definitely interesting. Very interesting build, Who Hames. I will give you that. Very interesting. Um, yeah, very interesting. Game tight. 3582. Caleb, Herbert, Malik Willis, strong QB room like that. CMC, A Chain, Javante. So really strong top. Oh, and Swift. Really, really strong running back room. Like super strong top 4, 4 straight to start. Then Algier is a fifth, which is solid as a fifth. I like that. But very strong running back room, strong quarterbacks. Devontae, Brian Thomas, Michael Pittman, Debo, Caleb Douglas, Jalen Naylor, Chris Bell, Cleve Raymond, Harold Fannin, Gadsden. Fannin Gadsden, it's okay. I mean, like Fannin really needs to carry it in my opinion, and Gadsden can maybe give you a spike here and there. But I think it's a little soft at tight end, and then it's kind of soft at receiver too, right? With not having the real high end like top end talent. Then you got Adams and BTJ, which is fine as your 1 and 2. Wait till Pittman. Pittman's good as your third. Debo's okay as your fourth, a little on the lighter side, but it's okay. And then Caleb Douglas as your fifth is kind of on the weaker side. I do love me some Caleb Douglas though, so I can't hate too hard. But receiver is definitely going to be a little on the thin side. It can get by though. You have the volume. You went on Miami, so if your Miami guys hit, then you're definitely gaining some ground there. Pittman I like as the third as a solid guy, so maybe the receivers are actually okay. I think the receivers are okay if some of your late guys hit, basically, but it's definitely gonna be on a little bit on the thinner side. And then tight end, you really need Fannin to carry. It's an all right build, especially because you're so strong at quarterback and at running back, but the receiver and tight end feel a little bit thin to me. Would have liked probably a little bit better fifth or fourth, and then maybe like a little bit better second tight end if you're going to stop at 2. So I think it's a reasonable build though. I don't think this is like too bad. It's an okay build. It's all right. It's all right. And I do like the Miami double. I like their prices. I like getting the late pieces of Miami, high upside swings on those rookies, hopefully. And that could really kind of change the receiver room if either of those hit pretty big, or Naylor hits big, or Raymond hits big. But mostly these rookies or Naylor, if they hit big, that could definitely help the receiver room a ton and kind of make your team like pretty strong if one of those guys hits. And then let's check out Killer Kazoo. 2583. Josh Allen, Jordan Love, totally solid with that. That's good. Josh Allen and any starter is fine. Jordan Love's a pretty good starter for your 2, so that's good. Chase Brown, Mondre, RJ Harvey, Tank, Tyrone Tracy. That's decent. Yeah, you got a hero up top. Mondre as your 2 is fine. Harvey as your 3. I'm not a big Harvey guy. I'm more of a Dobbins guy personally, but I think Harvey's your 3 is okay. Bigsby is your 4, and Tyrone Tracy super late. I think the running back room is okay. It's serviceable. It's reasonable. Nothing crazy, but not super weak either. Kind of just in the middle, just a mid running back room, but that's fine. Justin Jefferson, Lad McConkey, Christian Watson, Cortland Sutton, Casey Conception, Jalen Coker, Khalil Shakir, Devon Vele. I think it's a good receiver room. Like this a lot. I love Casey Conception. Want to get more of him for sure. I like your top 4. Lad, Jefferson, solid. Watson's 3rd is solid. Sutton's 4th solid. Yeah, so receiver's very strong. I like this quite a bit. I'd probably pass on the Shakir and maybe go back at running back, or let me see the tight end, Chig, Dulcich, Gunnar Helm. Yeah, I'd probably pass on Shakir and either put it at running back or go to tight end and then just get my like 6th receiver later. Or what do you have? You have 8 receivers. Yeah, I'd probably go later for my 7th receiver. It was a stack, so maybe you still do it, but I just don't think Shakir helps this receiver room a ton, even though it is a stack. Vele is fine as an 8th. I think that's a fine pick. You got value on it too. Tight end is okay, but a little on the weaker side. So yeah, I probably just move the Shakir or the Coker, right? One of the 2. I probably either move the Coker or Shakir to either tight end or running back and get a little bit extra capital there, because I think your receiver room is very strong, and I don't think that Shakir does a ton for the room. But I think like this is a kind of a small nitpick. I think this team is pretty solid overall. I think this is like a solid team overall, not super weak anywhere. Even tight end, it's not a strength, but it's like serviceable. It's fine. So pretty solid team overall, Killer Kazoo. All right. We checked out the teams. We'll catch up with the chat. And then we'll check out teams. We'll catch up with the chat and then we'll get out of here. It's pretty late. It's getting a little late for me. Let's see if anyone else is live. Is anyone else live? Ooh, Nice and Blunt's live, and he's even doing a ticket giveaway on Drafters. What a guy. We'll drop his link in the chat. So if you want to watch some more drafts, go check out Nice and Blunt. We'll catch up with the rest of the chat real quick, and then we're gonna head out. Cookie23, hey, what's up, bro? Can you rate my 12-man PPR squad? Yeah, for sure. Just drop it in the chat and I'll check it out. We are gonna get out of here pretty soon, so drop it All right, I'll check it out in just a second. Let me catch up on the YouTube side, and then I'll check it out. Two GOAT QBs, in fact, LMAO. Hey, that's true. We played with Peyton too. Yeah, no, Wes Welker, he was really blessed. Zay will be in motion a lot this year. That matters a lot in the red zone. That's true. That's true. Just wait till he sees mine. Yeah, it was interesting. I was interested. I did puppy things since that Wednesdays. Hey, yeah, shout out Ray Zanny, the fast puppy champion. Going with the crazy builds. Sometimes the crazy builds are just what you need. The one you least expect is the one that wins it all. So fair enough, fair enough. And if JMO or QJ are big hits, then that definitely could work out. Like, 'cause you had a really strong top three. So like a five is a little too extreme, or a little more extreme than ideal or optimal, optimal. But it could definitely work out, especially if one of those second two like really hit this year in a big way. Definitely work out. How I use my puppies are upside wildness. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Hey, no, I respect it. I respect it. I don't. I stay boring in all contests pretty much, unfortunately. I'm just a boring guy in these drafts. It's a sad life. But but yeah, did I even look at my team? I don't even know if I don't know. My team was pretty sick though. We'll catch up with the chat and I'll look at it at the very end. Um I was okay with it though. I was telling myself the story that Gibbs carries, Monty supplies RB2 almost every week. Chuba there is needed. Jonah hits if someone goes down. Yeah, no, I can see the story basically where it gets there. It's it's just that the floor will be lower early. But yeah, if Woody can really carry the RB2, or Woody and Chuba can split and carry that RB2, I think you can get there, especially if they all stay healthy. It's just, yeah, definitely going to be fragile. Like, you can't have any injuries, obviously, other than to Dobbins or Harvey. And you really want an injury to one of them for this team to really hit. But and no same week buys. That's a good point. No same week buys at RB2, and that impacted my decision a little when it was bad at the end. That's fair. That's fair. And yeah, and like, Kalen Black might hit if CMC goes down, but if CMC doesn't go down, then Kalen Black's probably pretty much nothing. So I think that's fair. Um Cookie, Dart, Cook, A Chain, Rice, Smith. Oh wait, Dart, Cook, A Chain's good. Dart's good. I love Dart. Dart's in all my home leagues right now. All my redraft leagues, I have Dart as my quarterback. I did a $350 draft with Candyman the other night too. We took Dart as our quarterback. I love Dart this year. Cook and A Chain, really strong top two. Rice, Smith, Pitts, Smith, top upside receiver on the board. No, just kidding, just kidding. Rice, Smith, Pitts, Scottaboo, Judkins. Damn, your running backs are crazy. Parker Washington, Reed, Charbonnet for the late season. I like that. Yeah, no, that's a really solid build. I think I'm not the biggest Pitts guy, but he's fine as your tight end. I think, yeah, especially your running backs are crazy. Cook, A Chain, Scottaboo, and Judkins. I mean, that's a crazy top four. And then Rice, Smith, P. Wash, Reed. That's solid. So I think yeah, that's a really strong team, Cookie. I think I have Ferg 2 on the bench. For tight end, yeah, that's solid. Yeah, and I'm a little bit of a Kyle Pitts hater, but like, he's still a good starting tight end. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a little bit of a hater. I'm gonna be honest. That's a little personal bias on me, but I think that's a really strong team overall. I think, yeah, that's really strong because your running backs are like crushers, and then the receivers are pretty good. Like Rice, Smith, P. Wash, Reed is pretty solid, but your running backs are just like super crushers. So I think that's a strong team, Cookie. I think Parker is a sleeper. Yeah, in this format, he's not much of a sleeper anymore. He goes in the 5th round on here, but in your home league, like here in Underdog, he goes at pick 51. So, he's not much of a sleeper over here, but in your home league, you might have got him later. So he's definitely a good sleeper in your home leagues for sure. Minx, what do you think of taking odd stacks on depth builds like Pop with May and Horton with Darnold? Do you ever throw in high variance players low drafted at the end of your drafts? Yes. I would say yes. The examples that you gave, I think, well, okay, Horton picked up an injury, so he's not as great now, but I do have Horton with Darnold for sure in my portfolio. I don't have much Pop Douglas. I will say I do have some Kyle Williams though, because I think with Pop Douglas, my problem with him a little bit, like, not to harp on like that specific example too much, but like, he's just more of that slot guy, more like lots rack up catches, rack up yards, not really a big spike week guy. I know he has spiked before and he can hit big plays, but like, I would probably more take a shot on like a Kyle Williams personally as more of a big play guy. But yeah, I definitely think that's totally viable. Like, as you can see, I don't know if this is exactly right, but I have a decent exposure to Jalen Noel. He was going undrafted for a long time. I have some Keon Coleman with my Josh Allen. He was going undrafted for a while. Rashad Bateman was undrafted for a while. I have some of him with my Lamar. Let's look at more. I think Taekwon's a reasonable pick. I don't have much of him. I've taken some Jack Besh even on my Raiders stuff. I've taken some Troy Franklin on my Denver stuff. Um, Darnell Mooney, I took a little bit with my Giant stuff. I was mostly taking Malachi Fields, and he was undrafted. I even have a little bit of Darius Slayton. Take a little bit of Bryce Lance with Shuck. I've taken some Surratt. Maybe some Malik Benson could be in order at some point. Colby Young, I think, is reasonable. So yeah, I think that there's like a reasonable case to be made for some of these deep stacks. I think it depends a little bit on the team and on the player and like what like you got to think what is their realistic path to getting legitimate playing time, right? If they're one injury away and you have kind of a lower stack on that team, like you don't already have it all stacked out, I think it's pretty reasonable to pick a guy that goes later, almost undrafted. I think that can be a good leverage piece on the field too. So I think that is totally reasonable. Like you could throw Skylar Bell on Josh Allen build. Jalen Tolbert on your Miami builds. Mac Hollins, I mean Mac Hollins maybe not. How much of a role will he really have? Can he really like break out? Greg Dortch on your Lions builds, maybe, I guess. But you know, I think I think it's reasonable, especially if you kind of have a free pick and you're like not really seeing anyone you like. I think it's totally reasonable to throw those late stacks on the builds. Like game tight he did with Khalif Raymond. I think that's a fine pick, right? I mean, all they really have in front of him is Burden and Rome. If one of those guys went down, Khalif Raymond could have a pretty nice role in a really good offense. So I think that pick makes sense. And it's not really a guy you think of a ton because some people might be going more for the Xavier Thomas or what's the other guy, Jade Walker? Yeah, Xavier Thomas or Jade Walker, but maybe Khalif Raymond's the super undrafted guy who actually gets that chance if like Burden or Rome go down over these young guys because Khalif can actually get on the field more. Or maybe Khalif's just on the field more than them if everyone's healthy and can give you a spike or two. So I definitely think there's some merit to that. I think it's totally reasonable to do. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think that's a totally reasonable strategy. I will say the Torrey Horton one, I have some Torrey Horton and he's hurt. He picked up some new injury. So I would look more into that if I was you. I think it sounds bad. Oh wait, no, okay, not okay. 5 hours ago, Torrey Horton injury is not considered long term. Okay, never mind. Because it was undisclosed and it sounded bad at first. But yeah, like see, we're on the fantasy footballer site. Horton has been silent with an undisclosed injury for over a week, but head coach Mike McDonald shed some light Thursday, explaining that the wide receiver isn't dealing with a significant injury. And then with Jake Bobo on IR, that's actually I like the Torrey Horton pick quite a bit. Then, if his injury is not significant, he's going to be ready early in the year. I like the Horton one quite a bit. Um, Pop Douglas, I think is fine. He could be in the slot role. He could hit you some decent weeks. I think that one's fine. I'm not as big of a fan of him, but I think it's reasonable. Like I get where you're coming from with that. He could actually be on the field a decent amount with no injuries. So that one's fine. You have the Drake May. I think it makes sense. The Torrey Horton one I like quite a bit though. I'm a pretty big fan of him. I was picking him a decent amount early or like pre-draft even, and then yeah, I was worried about the injuries mostly, and I'm still worried about injuries with him. But if he's healthy right now, I would definitely pick some. I like Franklin here and there. I also like Franklin here and there. Over 100 targets last year too, and autopilot notice. Oh, son of a bitch. I must have missed a slow draft pick. Okay, well, I missed it and I got Tank Bigsby, which is fine in the eliminator. I don't mind that. I got 30 minutes to my next pick, so we're good. Yeah, but the Torrey Horton one, I think I like quite a bit. Oh yeah, the Trey Franklin one though, like he actually had pretty good volume last year. I think like 104 targets, 65 for 709 and 6. I think if Waddle went down, like he could have a really nice role again and give you some spikes. So I like him here and there too. It said today in his name all good. Yeah, no, that was a good catch. I actually didn't see that yet. That one I missed that on my radar. I saw the injury like a week ago, and I was like, oh shit, I better stop clicking Torrey Horton ever. And but no, that's a good catch. I missed that completely. So then good shout there. Good shout. I like the Torrey Horton pick a lot. Because Cup might really be washed where he just gets like taken off the field by the end of the year. Dwayne, what's up, Dwayne? Thanks for stopping by, bro. I just traded Cortland Sutton and Woody Marks for Neighbors. Did I fleece him? Oh my god, he fucking fleeced him unbelievably bad. That is, I mean, yeah, and I'm not just saying that. That's insane. What he thought like the Woody 50-50 shit was like that real that he just needed him. That's an insane fleece. You killed him on that one. Yeah, Sutton and Woody for Neighbors is absurd. I like you're lucky your league didn't vote that out. That's an absurd trade. Injury to Cupper JSN, hate to say it, but Horton would be a smash. I agree. And I think even like Jake Bobo, like I know Jake Bobo is kind of a nobody. Like, don't get me wrong. He used to be a hype guy, but like let's look really quick. Let's look really quick before we get out of here. How much let's share this tab. Player Profiler, the most laggy site known to man. Like, let's just see how many routes did Jake Bobo run? Only 36. Okay, not that many. Not that many. But he got 16% snaps, right? So it's like he was taking Horton off the field. He doesn't really garner targets or anything, but he got a decent chunk of snaps, right? That takes Horton off the field with his like 16.5% snap share. And I think too, the thing to me, it's not even as much to Jake Bobo. That's a small upgrade, but like if anything, but Cooper Cup could also just kind of be washed where he might just kind of naturally lose his role and be on the bench a lot more often for Torrey Horton if they're both healthy. And I told him he was coming off a bad injury. He didn't know when he drafted him. What the hell? Damn, no, you killed him because I mean Neighbors, it sounds like he's good to go week 1. I mean, I'm drafting Neighbors with confidence in the second round. Neighbors to me is a with confidence second round pick. So if you're getting them for like the equivalent of like a 7th round pick and I don't know, 8th, 9th round pick, 10th round pick. I don't know where Woody goes exactly, but yeah, like you killed him in that trade. Not even close. You crushed him. He should have done some research. Horton had 13 catches, 161, 5 TDs, get him in the game. For real, dude, for real. Hey, I'm a Torrey Horton fan. I don't have much because he is a later pick, but 3%, 3% when I have like 350 teams or whatever is actually a decent chunk for a guy that doesn't hardly get drafted. So yeah, like I definitely like that bet. And I think he's a guy who can make big plays and obviously can be a red zone weapon. Maybe he got a little bit lucky with touchdowns. I mean, he tied Zay Flowers' career high last year. So, he's a beast. No, but no. Sorry. So, that was a cheap shot. But no, yeah, I definitely like the Torrey Horton scroll. I think that's totally reasonable. Oh, yeah. All right. I think that's gonna be it for us tonight. We were on for almost 3 hours. We only got in 2 drafts. We were just yapping for most of it. But hey, I always appreciate it. I appreciate the debates, So, sometimes I get a little bit too defensive, honestly, but I appreciate the debates. It does give me something more to think about. I will say we're pretty deep in the game, so I maybe am a little bit more set in my takes and stuff at this point than earlier in the year. But hey, I appreciate all you guys coming by, chatting, and drafting with me, talking. It's always a good time and always fun to like talk through it and kind of have little debates and stuff, talk through the different positions and everything. So yeah, no, but I mean, hey, it was a good time. Thanks everyone for stopping by. I just dropped Nice and Blunt's link in the chat. Sorry, I was just getting that real quick. I just dropped Nice and Blunt's link in the chat. He's live right now, so if you want to watch more drafts, go check him out. But yeah, thanks everyone for stopping by, drafting with me, chatting. Peace.